come to. I gotta hide this real quick. I gotta change my Twitch setting. I don't know if that's gonna piss off. Oh. Yeah, I should be streaming now. Look at that. Thank you. Sure does. Gross. I appreciate that. All right, now we're going to do Magic the Gathering. Commander, MTG. And Commander. Ooh, good one. Cool. All right. Bloop. All right, we're back.
We're back, baby.
We back, baby.
Okay.
All right, you ready? I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so for the viewers at home who are checking this out, we are looking at the Wise Mothman Commander deck. So let me preface it. I've only been playing Magic for maybe a year, a little less than a year. And I just now introduced my friend Brandon to Magic the Gathering. What was it, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah. So we have a Yu-Gi-Oh background. We played Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day up until like I think we played through the XYZ, the Synchro, and we touched the pendulums, and then we were like, we out. It got too much. At least I was.
Yep. And then kind of recently came back and played for another year or so. And I kept up with it for a while, and I've kind of touched it every now and then, but mostly on Master Duel, like on the online stuff.
Gotcha. So because we just got into it, say like a couple weeks ago, the Fallout set came out, and with it, the Mothman deck. And I think I slowly eased you into it. So with my limited Magic the Gathering experience, and with our past in Yu-Gi-Oh too, deck building is like one of our favorite things, I would argue.
Definitely.
And with Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously you get 3 copies for the most part of any card, whereas in Commander you get 1 copy, which is a thing I absolutely love. I think that's so cool, and it just makes the games just, you never know what's going to happen. You just never know. And then of course Magic has its own, strategy and rules, the mana curve, all that good stuff. And so you picked it up very quickly. I actually kind of browsed through your deck list a little bit.
Hmm.
I didn't read cards individually, but I just kind of breezed through it. And one of the things I was rather impressed with was your mana curve.
Ooh.
I thought your mana curve was very well done. And I've never used Archidec. I've heard of it. I just never used it. But I like how, did you organize it like this, or did they organize
Yes.
it like this?
Yeah, I organized it.
Okay, so I actually really like how you did this. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah. So,
props to you there. So
um,
walk me through your deck real quick. So and
yeah.
just
So,
also, sorry, I also wanted to preface it. We're
no, you're good.
helping Brandon build his deck. That is the goal of this.
Yes. Yeah, we're trying to kind of Obviously, no deck is ever finished, but yes, we're trying to kind of put a little bit of a bow on it and try and make it a little bit more finished, so that way it can go to events and not be not completely flounder. So,
Right.
um, yeah, so the first thing I kind of wanted to talk about, and this is a video that I just sent you, Mike. But I ended up like really liking it, and it kind of changed the way that I was approaching deck building, especially in a singleton format with 100 cards, which is very different from what I'm used to in Yu-Gi-Oh. But I like you said, I really enjoy it. I think it's really really cool, and that's basically by instead of grouping by the five normal categories with EDH, which is like you have your like ramp, you have your mana, you have your like cares about, which is like what supports your commander, and then you have like your draw, and that's like basically there's like the five standard categories. They basically the guy was talking about it, and he was saying if you break it out and you kind of put it into like you can change your categories, you can put stuff in different ways of doing stuff, and some things are going to have multiple categories, some things are going to have they're going to be draw and they're going to be interaction, some things are going to be mill and they're going to be a counter spell, something like that. And so there's quite a few things that are going to do both, and obviously there's plenty of things that are like utility lands, different things like that. So I kind of that was kind of my goal, was I went in with a kind of an attitude of like, okay, let's change some of the categories a little bit, and then that kind of helped me know how to declutter and how to kind of cut cards, because I was going, okay, is this actually contributing to what I want the deck to do? No? Okay, cool, let's cut it. And so that helped me quite a lot. This deck especially has a lot of things that it wants to do with Mothman, and so I was sitting at like 147 cards, and I was like,
Dang.
"Oh boy!" I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with cuts." And so I was like, "I mean, you can't cut out 30 lands." So I was like, "All right, let's go for it." And then I started, got it down to 100, and then started doing test hands, and I was like, "I these test hands are bad." I was like, "I'm having to mulligan two or three times before I have the right amount of lands." I was like, I have to go up to 38 lands and or go up in land. And so kind of had to like adjust my land count a little bit and do different things like that. So
Interesting.
um I'll
Interesting.
kind of so yeah, kind of giving a little bit of a it's just kind of a mana hungry strategy. So I'll kind of give a little summary on Mothman real quick.
Yep.
So
So
basically,
as you go through
oh good.
cards,
Yeah,
because I have my screen up and I'm recording it, just name the card and tell me where it is, and I can highlight it for us so we can
perfect.
uh,
Yeah.
do
Do
that
you mind
properly.
scrolling down and going to the commander?
Yep, I am there. Can you see where I'm at?
Perfect. It doesn't look like the screen has moved just yet.
Oh, hang on. Let me
Um,
go.
oh no, it has. Okay, hang on one second. Let me change something on my side. No, I was looking at the Discord and not at the Twitch. So let me pull up the Twitch.
Ah, I see. I see.
Okay,
Gotcha.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. So, okay, there we go. Yes, okay, perfect. I see everything. This is how we need to look at it. Okay,
Okay. Gotcha.
perfect. So, do you mind reading Mothman for us?
Yeah. So Mothman, the Wise Mothman, he is a four cost. He's a black, green, blue, and a colorless legendary creature insect mutant. He has flying. Whenever the Wise Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. Whenever one or more non land cards are milled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non land cards milled this way.
Perfect. And then do you mind going over radiation really quick?
Yeah, so rad counters or radiation, they're just a counter, like a poison counter or energy, for those who don't know. And they're a really cool effect in Magic. I really like them. But whenever somebody has a rad counter, at the beginning of their main phase, they're going to mill from their deck however many rad counters they have. So if they have 3 rad counters, they're going to mill 3 cards at the beginning of their main phase. So they're going to go through their untap, upkeep, draw, and then during their main phase, at the very beginning, you go 1, 2, 3 into the graveyard. And for every non land card milled, um, you that player loses a life. So if they mill two non-land cards in a land, they're going to lose two life. They will lose two rad counters as well, but they'll still have one left. So it's a really cool strategy. I like it. I haven't played Magic super long, but I think it's a very fair counter. It's a little bit of burn, it's a little bit of mill, and then obviously there are decks like the Wise Mothman that obviously benefit off of it.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Thank you for explaining both of those, and I liked your explanation of the rad counters. Took me a second to kind of grasp exactly what it was trying to do, but once I kind of got like, okay, it's mill and damage at the same time. It's interesting that you have mill and damage at the same time from your commander, and he can get it by attacking, but putting those plus one counters on each like instance of a mill. So if they mill a card, you just get to place one plus one counter. So you can throw it on Mothman, you can throw it on another creature. But if they mill four cards, you can place four counters on the field, and it's on four separate creatures. So it could go on Mothman, maybe on your Watchful Rad Stag, maybe on your Danny Pink, something like that.
But you
So
can also put it
um,
on other people's creatures too.
yeah, that's true. That's a great point. And so maybe there's a little bit of politics that you can do there as well. Of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'll give you a plus one if you that'll help you deal with this, but I need you to like do this for me, something like that. So
So
definitely,
here's a question. So when I
yeah.
build decks, one of my favorite things to what I like to do, and I'm curious how you did it. So the Wise Mothman comes from the Universes Beyond
Hmm.
Fallout series. So when you sent me this deck list, and we've talked a little bit on the side as well, um, I really liked. Well, let me back up. Um, so the Wise Mothman comes from Fallout, and so whenever you build this deck, are you building the Wise Mothman? Are you building a mill deck? Are you building like what's kind of the I guess kind of the theme or thesis of the deck? Because sometimes when I
Yeah.
build decks, I'm like, I want to build Liberty Prime, so I'm making
Yes.
it kind of patriotic, or I'll throw in some stuff that's kind of around Fallout. Like, and it may not be a good card, but I just like it
Mhm.
because it works well with Liberty Prime as a character. So
Yeah.
what was your approach with the Wise Mothman? What was kind of your thesis with him?
I love it. And I kind of like the interview format of this. So I think I think that is a really great question, and that is actually exactly what I kind of wanted to talk about. So Mothman wants to do three things. He does rad counters, and well, he does rad counters, he does mill, and he does plus one counters. So the mill gets him to the plus one counters, and the rad counters get him mill. So it all kind of revolves around rad counters do it. They do both things
Mm-hmm.
and they do damage, which is great, but it's kind of slow. So you can mill and do rad counters and doing that kind of stuff. So doing rad counters and proliferating is very good strategy with Mothman. Like he really likes that.
I agree.
But and he's a flying commander, so like
He,
he's hard. Sometimes he's hard to block. He can get in for some good damage,
yeah, they call
especially with
that
those plus one.
they call it evasion, is what they say.
Yes, good, good. Um, so basically, to answer your question pretty directly, this deck is very much dedicated to one half of the deck is dedicated to Mothman is on field. These are cards that benefit from Mothman being on field. And the other half of the deck is doing something for Mothman whenever he's on field. So it is very much a Mothman deck. You can kind of see like in some of my categories. So I have like 10 cards in the protection category. You could easily label that protection or interaction, something like that. Like Atomize is in there, different things like that. But there's several, and it's actually up on the top to the right.
Oh, gotcha. So I was like an
Um,
advantage. Yeah.
Yep. So that category is very much there's several different types of counter spells in there. So I have like counter spell, didn't say please, Glenalindra is a creature with a counter spell, and so is Swansong and Thought Collapse. So there's four counter spells in there that are all just basically there that I intend to use as a way of protecting Mothman. So that
Interesting.
way, it's basically a if you target him, I'm going to protect him because he needs to stay on the field. And so there's quite a bit of different things that are there for that. So inspiring call, repulsive mutation, mutational advantage, those are all things that are literally like lightning greaves. Those are all protection effects, and those are all in the protection category as well.
Okay, so kind of what
And
I
so,
heard is like you took the Wise Mothman as a Magic the Gathering card, the creature, and you
mhm,
built the deck around that creature. So
absolutely, yes,
you're not really focused on the Fallout aspect. You're not really looking at, oh, this can be like, you know, this could be like the Yao Guai from Fallout, and like he deals
yes,
other creatures. Like you're kind of ignoring that. You're doing more um, the Wise Mothman as a Magic the Gathering card, and you want to make all the cards gather around his abilities.
yes,
Okay,
totally agree. Yep,
so this
well
is
said.
basically just another a very straightforward commander deck. So we're looking at this from a we want to make a pretty 7 out of 10 commander deck. We're
Yes,
taking a precon and we're gonna take it up a notch,
yep.
probably several notches because we look. I'll say it. We're not bad at this. I'm not gonna say we're
Yeah.
the best,
Yeah.
but we're not
Yeah.
bad at this.
There's quite a bit of effort put into this. And
Yes.
so
Okay.
I've made some hard cuts, and there's some things that are like kind of like Tato Farmer is kind of one of my like pet cards. Like I love that card. I think it's so funny. And it does work with the deck.
Where is he at?
But I ended up cutting him because I was just
What?
like
What?
there's just better cards. And so he's in the sideboard over there. So sideboard over there is basically everything that came with the deck that I ended up cutting, and then everything that's in the maybe board that's below the sideboard is those are all things that are on the teeter totter of these could all go in for one slot or another.
Okay. I automatically Tato Farmer. I already want to argue for his cause.
So
I already want to argue for
let's
it. But
keep
let's
going real quick.
yes, we'll
Let's
keep
keep going
going.
through some of the deck.
Let's get
So
through. Walk me
um,
through the deck. Walk me through the deck,
okay,
and then we can see what
okay.
we can
So I'm
do.
going to walk you through my categories first. Okay. So basically, the first category, let's start with counters because that's the first one that's on your
Okay.
screen.
Yep.
So counter cards, I basically countered everything. I counted everything that was either going to give me more counters,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically branching evolution and hardened scales are effectively the same card. One just costs one more mana, or two more mana, sorry. Master Biomancer, basically all of these cards have to deal with counters. They like having counters on them, or they give you more counters.
Very
And
nice.
so these are basically these are all strong cards. Watchful Radstack is probably the least good out of these, but it still just gets big and then bodies and then makes a copy. So I think it's kind of a cheap version of a pretty good card. And so I like it. I think it's a cool card and I think it works well. Feral Ghoul in this category is kind of an alternative win condition. Feral Ghoul can get really big really fast, and he can be a very
Oh yeah. So he can.
card.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm reading him now. Whenever another creature you control dies, you put a counter on him, and that's your creature, anybody's creature. And then whenever he dies, each opponent gets number of rad counters equal to its power. So you could get him up
Yeah.
to like 20 or 30 and
Yep.
give
And just
each
dump a
opponent, yeah.
ton of rad. Yes,
And you either
exactly.
deck somebody
Exactly.
out or you just burn them out. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that could
exactly.
be really, really good. Yeah. And
So
that's a
Feral
sleeper.
Ghoul,
Yeah, that's a sleeper
yeah,
pick.
Feral Ghoul is very cool. So Kami of Whispered Hopes, two down from that, is another really strong. And this is Kami is kind of the Kami's just a very good one.
Kami is a MTG. I don't want to say staple, but he is known.
Common
Uh,
card. Okay,
yeah,
good.
he's
Yeah,
pretty common. Plus one, a lot of green and plus one people like him
yeah,
because of his ability. If one or more
yeah,
plus one counters we put on a permanent you control, that many plus one counters are put on there. So you just add one more. It doesn't double,
yeah.
but
And that's exactly what branching evolution or hardened scales. One of those does it. One of them doubles it, and then the other one adds one more.
yeah, I
And so
think
a lot of
it's
times I'm
hardened
doing this in one
scales.
increments. Um, yeah, a lot of times I'm doing it in one increments.
Yep,
And so yeah, so that's plus one, and then branching is
branching doubles
twice that
them.
many. Yeah.
Yeah, twice that
So
many.
that's
But
why
that's
branching
on
is more expensive.
yeah, but branching's also just on creatures versus
Yes.
there's some of these that are just permanents. Uh
Yeah.
like I think it was I've read one of them. Was it Kami? Yeah, it was Kami. Kami is just on a permanent because you can put
Yes.
plus one counters on a land if you have a
Yes.
land that does it, and so Kami will uh, help with that as well. It's a
Yeah.
very
Or
minute
there's a
thing, but
few
it's
rocks that
those.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
There's a few
minute.
rocks that do it. There's a few things that might do it.
Yeah,
So anyway, so very cool. Or my planeswalker or something like that.
correct,
So
correct.
Kami is very good. Fantastic source of mana. Again, just likes having counters on him.
Sorry, I was going to.
Master Biome.
I
Oh,
wanted
good.
to retrospect the what'd you say, planeswalker? So planeswalkers actually have loyalty counters. I'm sorry, they don't do plus
Oh,
ones.
perfect. Yeah, but I can proliferate those. So
You can
no,
proliferate, yes.
but
Sorry,
but good
go on.
point. No, I'm glad you separated those out. So good point. So then Master Biomancer is really very similar. He's just another one, and that's just one below Kami.
And
He
he
is another
is.
one that
I don't think I've seen him before. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional plus one counters on it equal to his power and is a mutant in addition to its other types. Yo, did he come in the? Excuse me. Did he come in
no,
the
I
precon?
found him.
Yo,
Nope, I
that's
found
good, and that
him.
like goes well with the just the whole mutant thing too.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
that's great because you
exactly.
can pump him up with Mothman. Oh, that's really good.
Exactly. Yeah. So theoretically, if you put two counters on him or whatever, you get him up too. Then everything that's lower than him comes in. So anyway, he's very good. If you have something like branching evolution out and him, you're doubling up that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or you're just adding an additional. It's there's a lot of getting out of hand quickly that can happen with him. Um, Watchful Radstag is kind of the same way, where it's just it can just kind of get big really quick, which is just kind of fun. So um, perfect. So then kind of going over to the advantage column,
Okay.
um, everything that I put in the advantage column, this is draw power, but it's also recycling. It's also things that it's a lot of stuff like that. And so like Cold Eyed Selkie is a good example because like she just lets you draw if she does damage. Well, it's just a 1/1, so it doesn't do a whole lot.
But it has
And
Island
she's at the very
Walk,
top.
so you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
free. Yeah, you draw that
But
many
with
cards.
some of my other stuff and with all the plus ones, like that's one that like you could potentially get like 5 cards in a
Yep.
turn kind of thing.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
so she's good. Contaminated Drink is perfect. That came with the precon. It's absolutely flawless. It does everything I wanted to do. Um, it gives me rad counters, which is not. Sometimes that can be a little bit anti-synergistic, but I have a lot of graveyard recursions, so that's not really that bad. If I mill myself a little bit.
Right.
So Danny Pink is just perfect. He's another one that I went and found, but I think he is flawless. He works fantastic with the strategy.
And what, Danny Pinkman. Sorry.
Danny Pink, he's just one more down.
Ah, yes. Actually, he came in one of the Doctor Who
Yep.
sets. Mentor. When this creature attacks, put a plus one counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Okay. And then creatures you control have whenever one or more counters are put on this creature for the first time. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I see it.
Just perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Fathom Mage is another kind of ramp one that just gets out of hand.
Evolve. Oh, this has the
Just
same thing as the Ragstad.
yeah. So
Oh, and then just oh yeah, that's easy draw power. That's easy draw power.
yeah, she's perfect. She's fantastic. Guardian Project. Everybody knows what that does.
Yep, that's a
Um,
staple.
yeah. So infesting Radroach is kind of interesting. He's another source of rad. Whenever somebody mills, I can get him back to my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's decent, like discard fodder, or if I just need to like sack something, I can. But he's another one that can like punch in and give rad. So if he is sitting on the field for too long, like I'll just start giving him counters, and who cares? And so he's kind of like he's a little bit like Ghoul, and he's flying, so can't block or anything, but still decent. Just kind of a little low cost guy.
I like it. I mean, I like him. I've
Yeah,
seen, yeah, I've seen some people use him. He's just a good recursion. He's easy. If
yeah,
people make you discard or you need a discard outlet, you can just pitch him. Like, or if he does get
absolutely.
milled, it's just value
It's
because you can get him
yeah,
back.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Mystic Remora, standard blue.
staple.
Um,
Yeah,
just be the tax man. Rao Troubleshooter is stupendous. He came in the pre-con and he's just fantastic for the strategy. Um,
and you can just tap him to mill. Yeah,
yep.
nice. Tezzeret's
Yep.
Gambit. Draw two
Tezzer's
cards.
Gambit's really pretty cool.
Yep, it's just easy. Draw two
And
cards. Proliferate.
draw and proliferate, which
Yep.
is exactly what I want to do. So that one's good. Visions of Beyond. I actually did get this activated whenever I was playing against you guys.
Uh huh.
It's just a cheap one draw, and then if you happen to get it activated a little bit later on, then like perfect. So I like that one. I think it's cool. It's kind of one of those like upstart goblin where it's it has a good upside. It lets you play a smaller deck. So like I think it's good. Um, so so this is kind of where so let's go over to the proliferate section.
Proliferate. That is down
Might be down a little
here.
bit.
I got him.
Yep, perfect.
So proliferate
Um,
seems like there's only 7 cards here outside of that.
yes.
I think I saw a couple that had proliferate on them that were just kind of side effects,
Mhm.
like the Tezzeret
Yeah,
one. Um, so it seems like proliferate's kind of a
if
sub
it happens,
theme.
it
If it
happens,
happens, it
kind of thing.
happens, but it's not. It's just there to kind of, help, kind of grease the wheel, so to
Yeah, yeah.
speak.
So this is kind of where I'm at with the deck is that I have so many things that kind of want to come in that technically, if I wanted to take proliferate out, I could, and the deck wouldn't necessarily be worse off for it. Um, the problem is that several of these do add rad counters, and so several of these do have multi-purpose, um, but a couple of them don't. Like Thrumming just straight up doesn't. Radstorm straight up doesn't. But some of these are very good cards that are like if I wanted to lean really hard proliferate, then I would probably add in something like Prologue to Prothesis or something like that, like something that does like the poison counters and like that kind of stuff. But because I'm like only kind of leaning into it a little bit, like I have a lot of proliferate effects on some of my other stuff, but it's not like a hard strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm kind of tempted to this is probably a spot in the deck that could probably either be cut down or something. So that's kind of what I wanted your opinion on a little bit.
Okay.
But I would like to kind of go through these cards with you just to kind of see what you think.
All right. So let's start with, I guess, Agent Frank Horrigan.
Yep,
So he's
it's
a
a big boy.
7 drop. I know he came in the precon as well.
Yep.
Um, so he's a 8/6. He's a big boy. Has trample, and then he's also indestructible as long as it has attacked this turn. Okay, and then whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate twice. Okay.
So that's four on. Well, it's two whenever he enters, and then two on the next turn
Yep.
whenever he starts attacking,
Yep.
and he gets indestructible once he attacks. So that is just like, yeah, it's just proliferate double proliferate. That's such a hard word for me to say on massive meaty legs.
Yep.
So
Sure is.
cool, big, just a big boy.
Yep.
And I do have stuff that can get stuff out of the grave, and so if he gets milled, like who gives? You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
just um. So
Yep.
anyway, he's cool,
So then,
decent, but he is high mana cost.
yeah.
So cool.
Okay. So
Next one,
Canker Bloom, he's that's honestly a staple, and
yeah,
I wouldn't say proliferate decks, but the people put him in green because of his pay one sacrifice. Yeah, you can
yeah,
proliferate, but the whole destroy enchantment or artifact makes him
yeah,
pretty valuable.
yeah,
And he's also he's a good blocker, so you can actually hold him up as a blocker and a mana. So whenever someone swings, you can be like, okay, block with Kinker Bloom, pay one, sacrifice him, destroy,
take something with it.
or proliferate, and because you've already blocked, so long as they don't have trample, that's really good value. He's really good. He's kind
Yeah,
of a good like trigger, like kind of finger on the
yeah,
gun, as like, hey, you attack me, I'll blow up your thing. Like
yeah,
he's pretty good on that end.
yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I use
Um,
him. I had a poison deck because I was a degenerate, and he was Canker
yep,
Bloom was clutch.
yeah.
Flux
Okay.
Channeler.
Flux Channeler.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. That seems pretty straightforward. Off the top of your head, do you have a ton of non-creatures?
Um, yes. There's so does land count as a non-creature spell?
No. So lands are do not count. I honestly shouldn't have asked that. I just want to go through your cards because then I'm going to start questioning every
Yes.
card you
No,
ever
that
put
is
in here.
totally fine. That is totally fine.
But yes,
So,
that is a good, that's a cast, and then you can cast something else and immediately get your value off
yeah,
of him. Like,
immediately get a proliferate.
yep.
Yeah. So, and she's fairly low mana,
Yeah,
which is nice. So,
three solid.
um, yeah. So, Inexorable Tide is the next one on here, and that thing is just kind of nuts.
That's a better version of Flux Channeler. That is a
Yeah.
straight up better version, and it's an enchantment, so it's even harder to get rid
Yeah.
of. Yep.
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 So that one's just good. It is two more than Flux Channeler, but that is very good.
Yep.
Um,
Enough
so
said.
then there's Radstorm, which even if I didn't lean into the like proliferate strategy, I think I'd still run this just because like it's just crazy.
Yeah. It can be, and the fact that it's an instant, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
because you can
good.
pop it on an opponent's turn, and you slung 5 spells. Cool, no problem. Here we
Yep.
go. Um, So Thrumming Bird and Vexing Radgal are almost the same. Vexing Radgal is a little bit better, just because he leans into the strategy a little bit more, but he also has the situationality that comes with him.
Uh huh.
And so like he has to deal damage, whereas Thrumming they both have to do damage, but he's they get 2 rad counters, and if they don't, or if they don't have any, and then otherwise proliferate. So it's kind of a he can give rad counters, which is cool, but then simultaneously, like
Yeah,
sometimes you just already want that.
and that's a great example of how a lot of commander decks are built. Is you kind of have two cards that are literally the same thing. Like Thrumming Bird and
Yeah,
Vexing Bradgle are like the same card.
yeah,
They have different stats, but their mana cost is the same. Their effect is the same. They both have flying. Like, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great.
yeah. So then, really, the next category would be in the mill category.
So this is kind of the bread and butter of your whole
Yes.
deck.
So yeah, and this just kind of goes back to what we were looking at with Mothman, where every time something mills while Mothman is on the field, then we get something from it, kind of thing. We get those +1/+1 counters, or something else is happening.
Right.
So
So let's start with your Fractured Sanity. Uh, each opponent mills 14 cards. So I actually had somebody play this on me in a duel. Not a duel. That's my Yu-Gi-Oh talk speaking. Uh, in a pod in a game. Uh, and it was not fun. Like nobody likes to mill, um,
Yeah,
but man, when you mill 14 cards, that hurts because you're just
yeah,
like, because like you said, it's a singleton format, and you're just like, man, I wanted to play like every single one of those cards, and now I can't.
yeah. I
Um,
watched a match earlier where the I was watching somebody play Mothman, and he played a lot of the like cheap mill stuff that was like when you do blank you mill, when you do blank you mill, and he made them like he had them down to like 25 cards in like
ugh,
6 turns.
that's
It was
gross.
crazy. And
That's
they
gross.
there was literally one of the guys who like wasn't able to play because he was milling all his red sources, and so he was like, half my deck isn't on because I can't get a mountain on the field kind of thing.
Yep.
So I see the power of mill. I think it's cool.
Yep.
It's interesting.
It
So
it's not impossible to mill somebody out in a game because I mean everyone has 100
yeah,
cards. Like it's hard, not
that's a lot.
impossible. It's a lot because you got to remember too. You're not milling one opponent. You're milling three opponents. So that's 300
Yes.
cards you have to get into the graveyard.
Yeah.
Same with like same with damage stuff too. It's like
Mhm.
sometimes trying to get 120 points of damage is just hard. You got to use your opponents. But this
Yep.
seems uh, that's why I like the Wise Mothman. I like the strategy where you can beat face or you can
Mhm.
also kind of slowly mill, and hopefully one of
Yeah.
your other opponents has taken out somebody.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and you saw in the game that we played. I mean, like the my Mothman sat on the field for a little bit too long, and he got to 21 counters.
no, he was
Like
a problem.
I had him huge, and so it's like that's kind of the other win con is well, it's one of the other win cons is just commander damage. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's cool. Um,
The Ghoul Bell, it's a one artifact. Tap. Each player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Yep. It's
yep,
pretty easy.
just cheap, easy, 1 mana, and then just immediate mill.
Yep.
And so I just like how cheap that is. It's just kind of perfect. Keeps the
Yeah.
mana curve low, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Jace, I think it's the first planeswalker we've seen right now.
Yes, this will be
Uh,
the only one.
so it's two, a blue, and a Phyrexian blue. So it's either, and his abilities are you can pay one or you can add one until your next turn. Up to one target creature gets -3, -0, or you can -2. Target player mills 3 cards. And then if a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, you draw 3 cards. Otherwise, you draw a card. Oh, so he's like that
Hmm.
that instant
The
vision.
Visions of Beyond, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then you can pay X. Target player mills 3 times X card. That's pretty cool. That's kind of
Yep,
that's neat. So you could
yep.
make someone mill if you wanted to. What 15 cards? If like right as he dropped, if you wanted. Like
Um, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, yeah, you're exactly right.
yeah, that's gross. Cool,
Yeah, pretty good.
pretty good. Let's go to the
Um,
next card. I'm tired of reading that.
yeah, he's basically perfect for the deck. He does everything that Mothman wants. So
Yeah. Maddening cacophony.
cacophony, yeah.
So do you know what kicker does?
Yeah, so it's basically you pay extra and then you get like a bigger effect, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Each opponent mills 8 cards. If it was kicked, it's each opponent mills half their library. God, you're a monster.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, okay, that seems pretty good. I was like, early
Mhm.
game it's 2 mana for, mill 8 cards, and if it's late game, like, all right, let's dump the other half of your deck.
Yeah, and I
Yep.
like cards like this that have a cheap cost and an expensive one. I think it makes them
Yeah,
super useful throughout the game. Good,
totally
good
agree.
pick. Good pick.
Yep.
Memory
Okay.
erosion. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player puts the top 2 cards of his library in hers. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
So Memory Erosion and Mystic Remora are kind of my taxman cards, where it's like, hey, if you do something, you're gonna go ahead and either mill or I'm gonna draw or something.
Well, so I'll
Um,
say this:
there's
the Mystic Remora is it's kind of a tax man. It's basically you're gonna draw up until probably
yeah,
your second or third turn before you're like, I don't want to pay the cumulative upkeep. Um,
yeah,
but you'll get your cards off of it. So
yeah,
the game that I was telling you where I actually got milled 14 cards,
yeah.
he actually had this card out as well, like early
Mhm.
on. and this affected everybody. No, it just
Yeah.
affected not everybody, just opponents. But it was
Yeah.
annoying. It didn't stop anybody from playing the game. So as a text card, I wouldn't really view it in that sense personally. It's
Yeah.
more of a it's just a nuisance. And like
Yeah.
basically it's a great like if people want to get rid of it, they can. It's no loss to you, but
Yeah.
we're definitely every time we mill, because it's gonna be a separate instance of mill, so it's gonna trigger your
Yep.
Mothman. So that is, I think it's excellent in this deck.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. Very cool.
Um,
Milliken.
Milliken. What is this? Oh, this is another. Oh, this one gives it's a little mana rock,
Yep. She's perfect.
but you mill a card. Gotcha.
Yes. So that still triggers Mothman. Um, but that is, I think that's still perfect because
Nope.
it's a mana rock.
Yep.
But it is a creature as well. So that is, I feel like that does everything the deck wants to do.
Oh, so he's a mana
So
dork, but yeah, no, that's tight.
yes, good, well said. Yes, you're right. Yes.
Mind
You ready for a funeral?
Mind Funeral. Target opponent reveals cards at the top of his or library until 4 land cards are revealed. Oopsie. Um, or revealed this way, and put all cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. Yo, that's gross.
So that's another one that is kind of like Maddening Cacophony, where it has the potential to mill a lot. So pretty. I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, honestly, you can target your. Oh no, target opponent. That sucks. You can't target
Yeah,
yourself. But yeah, no, that could really kind of.
yeah,
That's a good
um,
like. So I would politic this. This is one of my favorite things to do. You'd be like, hey, like your mana's screwed, right? They're like, yeah, I'm not getting my land. It's like, hey, I can help you out if you like, don't mess with my board. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then you hit that, and you're like, mill, and they're like, son of a gun, like,
yeah. Well, they don't
yeah,
get the 4 lands. It's all of it goes to the graveyard.
it puts all cards revealed this way into. Oh shit. Oh,
Yeah, they
that's
don't get the lands.
gross.
It goes until you hit 4 lands. So it could just be 4 cards, but it's gonna keep going until you have 4 lands.
Oh, that's so gross. I thought you got to keep the 4 lands. Nope, it's worse.
Yeah. No, that's much worse. Um,
Blech,
yeah. Do
blech.
you mind skipping Mind Crank and going to Ruin Crab first?
Sure can. Ruin Crab. Landfall. Oh, I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. He's so cute.
I love him. Okay. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. Okay. Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's a one cost little blocker. He's fine.
And then Sir
So
Conrad.
Sir Conrad,
Yeah.
this is actually my favorite card in the deck, other than Mothman.
So this is a well known card. This is a well
Okay,
known card.
I
Uh,
kind of figured.
yeah, because he can be a combo piece in some like heavier hitting decks,
Yeah,
but because there's people that can like kill a card, bring it back, kill a card, bring it back.
yeah,
Uh, but luckily your deck I don't think does that. But this is almost like double your this is like double your rad counters.
yeah. This is prehistoric rad counters. Um,
Honestly though.
so now you can read Mind Crank.
Mind Crank.
So that's 2 up from
So
Sir Conrad.
and then whenever opponent loses life, that player puts that many cards from the top of his or library in his or her. Yo.
So Mind Crank and Sir Conrad can go pseudo infinite.
They can basically until yeah, they sure can. They sure can. Good for you. Okay, I'm very proud of you because I like having
Thanks.
decks that I think decks should have at least one infinite, like
Yeah,
one, because obviously it's not like you can search these cards out. But if you were to like get
yeah,
them, and your deck's a mill deck, so you could like if Mind Crank goes to the graveyard, it's like, dang, like.
yeah,
But no, that's awesome. I applaud you for that. I think that's super
yeah.
cool.
So the idea here, so this is the thing with the mill category here, is that basically Sir Conrad plus Maddening Cacophony plus Memory Erosion plus basically anything else in this category is going to do a lot of damage.
Yep.
Sir Conrad plus Mind Funeral is going to do an ass load. Sir Conrad plus Mind Crank could go pseudo infinite. Like it may not, but it has the potential to do a lot of damage.
Correct.
But those still, all of them still benefit Mothman. And so
Yes.
that's
Yes.
really what I like about this is that all of that still, pardon me, all of that still works back toward the core strategy. So that package, that's kind of why with the proliferate stuff, I was like kind of tempted to like cut down on the proliferate stuff to
Yeah.
like beef up the mill package a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely have some thoughts right
okay.
so far,
So,
but I want to
okay.
keep moving.
So let's keep going. Next category, let's do the protection, I guess. This will be super fast.
Yeah. So we have atomize. So this seems like I think you already covered this a little bit, but it
Yeah,
seems
this
like
is
this is a lot of like these are your counter spells, like single target removal, things like that.
yeah, and this one has proliferate on it, so it's a little bit expensive, but it has proliferate, so I
And
feel
it's a
like it's good.
non-land permanent, so it can get rid of
Yeah,
a lot of things.
yeah.
Counter spells a
Counterspell,
staple.
super standard. Didn't say please is perfect for the deck.
Yep. Drown in the lock.
Drown and Lock is cool.
Yeah, I have this card.
I was
It's
gonna
not.
say, I think I saw it in one of your other decks.
I don't think it's in a deck, but I definitely have it. Um, but that's a great one. Glenn, we said, yeah, I love this. I read this and I was like, that's so cool. Um,
Yeah, that is perfect, and she works perfectly with like some of the other stuff that's like let stuff enter with a +1 on it or something like that. Her and Mothman are best friends. So anyway, yeah, I love her. I think that she's like perfect.
so someone can probably tell me the ruling on this, but you may have just told me. But the whole persist thing. So,
Mhm.
uh, so if you sacrifice her and she doesn't have a -1/-1 counter, she returns to the battlefield with one. But
Yeah.
if you put a +1 counter on her, it removes the -1/-1.
Yes, they zero out.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That is my understanding of it. And I watched an episode of Tolarian College where they were talking about that, where if you have a -1/-1 and a +1/+1, they zero out and you don't have any counters.
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. And again, that's just my inexperience, but this is very good in your deck.
Yes,
I like that.
especially with some of the other cards that are like things enter with a +1/+1 on them, or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like the was it Danny Pink? Um,
yeah. Well, Danny Pink was the mentor.
Oh,
Uh,
who am I thinking of? Which one was that?
you're thinking of. I mean, you could even say branching
Oh,
evolution.
Master Biomancer.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah,
yeah,
each other
Master
creature
Biomancer.
enters with. When another creature enters the battlefield, I get additional +1/+1 counter. So yeah, after she
Yeah,
persists, she'll come back, and you can just get rid of that
yeah,
-1 counter. Yeah, that's great. I think she's fantastic. The
yeah.
non-creature spell is that's great protection. Yeah,
Mhm.
love it.
She's
Inspiring. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, no, no. You're good. You're good. Keep going. You are golden.
Uh, Inspiring call. Yeah, this came in
And
the
it has
deck.
Mothman art. Yeah, and it has Mothman art, which is amazing.
Yep, it's without flaw for each creature
Yeah,
added.
this is it's perfect. And they gain indestructible. I was like, I like read through it and I was like, oh, draw a card for each +1. I was like, that's perfect. And then I was like, oh, never mind. It's even better. I
Uh
was
huh.
like, that's incredible. Yeah. Uh, Fantastic. I love it. So
I think this
that
one
one,
does the same thing. The mutational advantage.
it's very similar. Yes, it's very similar.
Permanents you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible, and prevent all damage that would be dealt to those permanents this turn, and
And then
proliferate.
proliferate. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It
That's
just kind of
good.
does everything for the deck.
Sure
And so I
does.
was like, oh,
It,
perfect. All right, keep going. Yeah, that's a really cool one.
I think I turned
Um,
you on to this repulsive mutation. Uh,
yes, yes, you did. Yeah, you showed me this one, and at first I wasn't 100%, but I kind of had to like reread it a little bit. Because whenever you pitched it to me, you're like, you can just pay one and it's still great. And I was like, I don't know that I get it. But then, like, after reading it, I was like, you know what? This is fantastic. This is super good.
Yeah, you know it's also good? You can put 0 in it because you already have counters on those creatures
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, that's a
And
good point.
so you can put 0 and just have a green and
Yeah,
blue counter spell and be like, hey, I pay 0. This gets 0 plus 1 counters, but it already has, whatever its power is. But you said Mothman was 21. It's like, hey, can you pay
yeah,
21 mana? Sorry.
yeah. No, okay. Well, then I guess I'm countering you, and you can't do shit about it. Yeah, Swan Song, super standard.
Staple. Yeah,
Um,
so good.
Thought Collapse is basically the same as Didn't Say Please.
Yep,
It counters and it mills, which is perfect.
it's perfect.
Um,
Love
so
it.
that's exactly what I wanted. So second to last category is gonna be the mana category.
Okay.
And I
This
wouldn't
looks like.
mind taking
Go
a
ahead.
look at land. I wouldn't mind taking a look at land, but
Oh, we're
I think
gonna.
some of that's gonna be preference. But
Nope,
yeah.
some of it's gonna
So
be facts. Sorry.
okay, good. No, it's fine. I'm happy. I'm happy too. So a lot of these are standards. There's a few of them that are a little bit different, but a lot of these are going to be standards.
All right, so we'll go through them pretty quick. It looks like
Yeah.
Arcane Signet. Yep. Cultivate. Yeah. Far Wanderings. Uh, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Just a little additional synergy.
Yeah, no, I like it, and it's different because not every deck like can play that, and so I just like
Yeah.
seeing different things.
Yeah. And
Farseek,
it's only one more mana than Farseek, and so it does the same thing basically.
yeah, and then Farseek search, just kind of mana fixes.
Yep.
Um, Incubation Druid, add 1 mana. Oh, it's a mana dork. Add a mana of any type of a land you control that you produce. Oh, if it has a counter on it, add 3. Oh, yep, that's
Yep.
good. Yep,
She's perfect. Yep.
yep,
I was like, oh yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's very good.
yes,
Uh,
that's great.
and she can add counters as well. You can pay 5, and then she'll put 3+1s out.
Okay, well, don't ever do that because that's not
Yeah, I'm not
good.
going. I'm not
That's a
gonna.
waste of 5 mana.
Yeah, I agree. I
um,
agree.
Kodama's Reach, yeah.
Super standard.
Life
Life
from
from
the
the Loam.
Loam.
You're gonna like this.
Okay, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so what is Dredge? Do you know what
Oh
Dredge does?
my god. Yes, I do. Okay, so
Talk me through
Dredge,
Dredge. Talk me through that.
Dredge. Anytime that this card is in your graveyard and you would draw a card, you can bypass that draw and instead take Life from the Loam from your graveyard to your hand to mill 3.
So instead of drawing, you mill 3 and add life from the loam to your hand.
Yep.
That's pretty outstanding because if that ever goes to the
Yep.
graveyard from just one of your mills,
Yep.
you're in business, sir. Dang.
Yep. But you can still play it. Like if it ends up in your hand, you can still play it normally and then just get it back later if you want to too. So it just kind of makes it so that if you're ever like discarding to hand size, you can discard a land and it's not really that bad.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway, it's
No,
cool.
that's good. That's clever. That's clever. I like it.
Yeah. Dredge is really cool. There's several more dredge cards that I was like, oh, that's cool.
Right.
But anyway.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. Sorry, I
Soul Ring
lost.
and the Talismans.
Sorry, I was doing something on the
You're good.
OBS. Okay, rampant growth. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card in the battlefield. Tap, shuffle. Yep. Soul Ring, staple, talismans.
They're all standard.
all the pain ones. I think those are fine. They came in the pre-con.
Yeah.
I prefer. This is a preference thing. I prefer the talismans over the. Crap. What are the other ones? There's talismans, and then there's the other mana rocks that are the filters, signets.
Oh, yeah.
So I prefer these because these are you can play them and you immediately can get a mana out of them. And my life's a resource, so even if I have to pay for that mana fix, I'm totally cool with that. So I'm a big fan of the talismans. I'm glad you got all three.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have World Shaper.
You're gonna like this one too.
Whenever it attacks, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Surprise! But then when it dies, put all land cards from your graveyard onto the battlefield. Ooh, that's really clever.
Yep.
So if you attack with it, you're like, block it, do it.
Do it. Fucking kill me. Board wipe me. See if I care. Do it. Do it, bitch. Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
So, okay. So then last category, aside from lands, is the game push
Game
category.
push. 5. All right.
You're going to like these.
I love game pushes. All right. Consuming Aberration. It's a 5 cost.
I pulled this on you guys.
Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your opponent's grave. Oh, I remember this card. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that got up to like 73.
Yep. And then whenever
So-
you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards at the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Then put those cards into their graveyard. Yeah, he's good.
Just insane.
Yep.
Just insane.
Busted. I wish
Okay.
his only downfall is he doesn't have any evasion. Like he has no trample, no vigilance, no flying. He doesn't have any of that.
Yep.
Oh,
But that's why
okay,
we put
nope.
Rogue's Passage in that.
Don't worry. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anyway.
Okay,
Mold
so Mold
Dratha.
Dratha.
This has notoriety. I think I've told you that before. People make commander decks just based on Mold Dratha.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who don't know, like me, during each of your turns, you may play a land card and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard. Yeah, that's dope. So that's just good recursion. Yeah.
Really good recursion. Good recycling. My thought process there, and the reason why I put it in like game push, is that like I have several permanents that are like that can be game ending, and stuff like Sir Conrad or like there's just enough stuff in there that I'm like, this could be game ending.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Nexus of Fate. I've heard of this card. That's why. It's an extra turn. Take an extra turn after this one.
Second effect is actually very important.
If Nexus of Fate will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Nexus of Fate, shuffle it into its owner's library instead. Okay, so you can just reuse it, basically. So even if you do mill it...
Yes. So the reason that this is good is it means I can't deck out.
You can. Because you can draw it and put it in your hand, and if there's still no deck after that, then...
Yes.
You can. But
so the idea, though, is that if it's in the graveyard and I'm getting low or whatever, I can reveal, put it back in the deck, and then if I draw it, I take the extra turn. It goes to the graveyard. I reveal it, put it back in the deck, take the extra turn, and just keep doing that until I win.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's the idea. That's why it's in there.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It's basically the ultimate backup.
Yeah, no, that is, and it's a game push. Like anything that does extra turns is a game push.
Yes.
Reanimate. So I have this in not several decks, but I don't know if I'd put it in game push, but it is a nice.
Yeah, it's recursion.
It's recursion. You want it in a mill deck because you never know.
Yes.
And it's from a graveyard too, so it's not just your graveyard. You can look at anyone's graveyard.
Yeah, the reason I put it in game push is because I have some big boys like Agent Frank. I have I just have some big boys, and I have like Consuming Aberration. I have it could potentially save me another like commander tax if I decide to put Mothman in the grave.
Sure
instead
can.
of putting him back in the commander zone, just different stuff like that.
Sure can.
I was like, this is a standard. I just need to have it.
Yep.
And then
Rise of the Dark. Yep. A lot of people know what this does, but that is a game push. That's a game win.
Yep.
Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. It's fantastic. It's great. Yeah. I think those are great game pushes.
Yep.
And then your lands. So you have 38 lands,
Yes.
uh, which we don't have to go through all of these. I'm assuming most of these came from the pre-con.
A lot of them did. I've found several others that I liked or changed out for others or something.
So what were the ones
There's
you put in?
Okay, so the ones that I put in are Dimmer Guide Gate. I'm just going to go from the top to the bottom.
Yep.
So I put in Dimmer Guide Gate. I put in Golgari Guide Gate. I put in um, Rejuvenating Springs. I put in, and both of the guide gates are they're just tap and then tap and do those. I put in the Reliquary Tower. I put in Rogue's Passage and
Yeah.
Undergrowth Stadium.
Undergrowth Stadium. Okay. Not bad picks. Not bad picks. Okay.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
I think this is for deck building, 7 out of 10. It's great.
Fantastic.
I do think we can definitely tighten some things up. I just got word in from the GOAT himself, John Bowser.
Oh my god.
He sent this like 10 minutes ago. Sorry, Bowser, if I didn't see it earlier. I'll go over it in a minute. So I do agree. Okay. Where do I start here?
Let's start with like proliferation.
Okay, proliferation. I don't mind proliferation. I think it has its place. But I do agree if there were cuts to be made, I think some can be made in proliferation.
Okay.
I also think that this is where Bowser's comment comes in.
What did he say?
So his suggestion was you need to pick a lane with mana. You either need to use rocks or lands.
Okay.
And by rocks or lands, he means like spells. So like Cultivate, Farseek. Because it kind of depends. But sometimes I disagree with him on things. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But for this one, you are in green. And I don't know what mulligans or, I don't know what you're, what you call it, goldfishing, like playing it by yourself. I'm not sure how it was looking, but I think 38 lands is a lot, especially in green and blue, because green and blue you get to draw a whole bunch. I mean, with Mothman, I know you're milling, but I think we have some room with some of these mana rocks that we can kind of take out.
Okay.
I think we can take out a couple lands. There's a couple I disagree with your pick. I know why you picked them. I know exactly why you picked them.
Fine.
But you also pick some better lands that I was like, oh, proud of you. The other one is there's a couple game pushes that I think we can add in as well.
Okay.
And I have not looked through your sideboard. So let's do this real quick.
So let's skip the sideboard and go to the maybe board would be the place that has a lot of the good stuff in it.
Well, I would, but there's 2 cards.
Okay.
In your sideboard that I saw that I was like, I really think they could go in. I think they could go in. One is Tato Farmer. Okay. So Tato Farmer is ramp. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you get 2 red counters, which is fine. But you can tap and then you put target land card in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control. So those lands, like that Reliquary Tower, there's some higher cost lands like Strip Mine and fetch lands that people use. Like you can steal those and use them for your benefit like every turn. And because if everyone's milling Tato Farmers, that's basically playing 2 lands per turn, which is
Okay.
nuts. Um,
Okay.
I think he has a place. And he's a
Okay.
1/4. That dude's got the thickest ass. Dude's got a pumpkin in them
And
overalls.
he is my pet card, so it would take me less to be convinced to put him back in
He is a pet
because I do
card.
love him.
And I won't lie, some of my picks, some of my reasoning, I'm a huge Fallout fan.
Yeah.
So there's some cards I'm like, man, it's in the game. Like it's got to go in. It's got to go in. It's not
Yeah.
always true, but you know. The other one, I don't have as strong of an argument for, but the reasoning, I think there's other cards that could probably do it. So for as long as I've played Commander, I'm looking at Strong, the Brutish Thespian.
Mhm.
So he has the whole, whenever he's dealt damage, you get 3 red counters. You put 3+1/+1 counters on him. So he's already big, and he's got kind of protection, but it's his last effect. You gain
Yeah.
life rather than lose life from radiation.
Mhm.
Having some form of life gain doesn't have to be a source, kind of like how your proliferation is just kind of like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Just in games, having a little something that gives you a little bit of life. Like if I had an endless amount of money, I would put a Shadow Spear in every single one of my decks.
Yeah.
And that's an equipment card that you pay 1 to play it, and then I think you pay 2 to equip it, and the equipped creature gains trample and lifelink, and it's
Oh, yeah.
just
That's incredible.
yeah, it's just life gain. It's so nice. It's so nice when you have it. And
Mhm.
Strong is a 7/7. He does the +1/+1 counters. Uh, he, I don't know if it needs to be him, but I think having at least one, like just one life
Yeah.
gaining thing would be
So there
nice.
is a cheaper one. That's called Glowing One, and it's down in the maybe board.
Glowing one. Oh, thank God it's alphabetized.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the maybe board, so you'll have to go down here.
And then whenever player mills a non-land card you control, gain 1 life. I like him better.
Yes.
Um,
So he was a hard cut because I really like Glowing One.
and Death Touch is not fun to deal with for other people.
Yeah.
Okay, so without looking at the maybe board, without looking at it,
Okay.
one thing I think you should add in is a card called Wonder.
Okay.
It is, I don't even know because I never play it. I always discard it. But because you're milling, I don't know if I can do anything. I don't think you have control over this deck. I think I'm just a guest on it. But I'm going to look it up real quick just so you know.
Okay. It's called Wonder.
Wonder. It's a blue card. It's wonderful. I love it. Read it, and well, people can't see it. Most people should know what it is. But Wonder, it's a 4-cost creature. You should never cast it. As long as Wonder is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control have flying.
Oh, that's cool. That's like Anger.
Yes, it's like Anger, but it's the blue version. I use it in my knight deck, so all my knights can fly.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great addition because
Mm,
you have a lot of creatures here that can get big, but they don't have any evasion.
yeah.
Like your game pusher, the consuming aberration.
Hmm.
Dude, if that dude could fly, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's cool.
so, and that's a card that if it got milled, yeah, that's where you want it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
That's cool. That's really cool.
The other card, it's kind of similar to Rise of the Dark Realms. It's much
Okay.
cheaper. I think we've talked about it before, but it's called Living Death. Because one thing I noticed kind of going through here is I didn't really see any board wipes.
Oh yeah, no. I ended up kind of siding on protection
Uh-huh.
instead of board wipes, and kind of like stopping key moments instead of blowing things up.
So
Um,
there is some wisdom in that, but it's also you have to remember you're versing 3 opponents and
yes,
you
definitely.
don't have enough removal for 3 opponents.
Yeah.
So removing things one by one against 3 players, you just don't have the resources for that versus like nuking the board with one card instead of playing 3 separate cards to remove 3 separate things. You can play one and hit
Mhm.
everybody. Um, I like. I'm a big fan of having at least two board wipes.
Yeah.
Um, just for that reason, because sometimes you need a reset. You need a there's a problem on the board. Nobody else can solve it. You can't solve it. It's like, hey, we gotta wreck this. Um, that's kind of been my philosophy. Not every deck, but I think for this one, you're gonna be on everybody's radar because you're giving people rad counters. You're gonna be making people mill, so people are gonna be aware of your presence. And so I don't know if you'll have enough protection to do it one at a time. That you're gonna need if you needed stuff like that. Then I think I saw it in your sideboard. Maybe I didn't.
What was what was it called?
Living
Oh,
Death.
Living Death. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Living Death is similar to Rise of the Dark Realms, except you sacrifice all creatures on the board, and then you put all creatures from every graveyard onto their opponent's battlefield. Um,
Interesting.
it's I don't know if it would be great. It's just the one that came to mind because you're making people
Yeah.
mill. So they may also have creatures
Yeah.
that they could bring back. So it's kind of
Hmm.
it's a big
That's
maybe.
interesting. I could see that going well. I could also see that backfiring horribly.
Yes.
Um, okay,
Yes.
so here, real quickly. Okay, so real quickly, so I do have a couple of things in the maybe board that are that are board white
Okay.
kind of things.
So let's look at that then real quick.
Okay. So Altar of the Brood is okay, there's just so many good cards in here.
That's how
This
it
is
goes.
this is seriously the hardest part. So Culling Ritual, that's one of the cards that you actually gave me. Culling Ritual is very strong. Um,
It can be. It can also not be strong.
okay.
Because destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. So that gets rid of
Mm,
like mana dorks, mana rocks, uh, just like really, really cheap stuff. But then you get a bunch of mana
yeah.
in return for it.
Yes.
Um,
Which I don't know. Part of me is like, that's pretty cool. Um,
yes.
so another like big one would be feed the swarm a single target nuclear fallout. That is a big one. It's kind of a feed into. Um,
Oh, you should be running this 100%
yeah,
because that gives people rad counters and your stuff
yeah,
gets can possibly get bigger than the damage you're putting out.
yeah.
So that you could actually survive versus
Hmm.
other people. And then you also get rad counters. That should 100% stay in.
Yeah. I
Uh,
yes, I took it out, kind of knowing why. Anyway, okay, so that one's pretty good. The next one is, let's see, um Force of Despair was single target. Oubliette is single target. Murder is single target. I have a couple more Taxman cards in here. Languish, that was one of the ones that you had mentioned. Um,
yeah, that one doesn't really synergize just because it's like it's a board wipe. It does -4, -4. It gets rid of a lot of token stuff, and your stuff would live, so it's a good possibility. That is a good one. But it doesn't do any of your other things. Like it doesn't mill, it doesn't proliferate, it doesn't do any of those other things. But it does. Usually, your stuff will live because you're just pumping them constantly.
Yeah.
Hang on one sec.
Hello.
Hello.
What you doing?
I'm building a deck with Brandon, and we are going over it right now.
Hi, Michelle.
You on stream?
Yep, we're live streaming it.
Oh, very cool.
Brandon says hello.
Hello, Brandon. I'm watching the Bachelor finale. I'm just very upset.
Okay.
Because they didn't choose the girl I wanted to be the next Bachelorette.
Damn.
It is very upsetting because
no.
they chose one of the other girls.
That sounds like they did.
Yeah, and it no one cares about her.
Dang.
I wanted Maria, but they chose Jen.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Damn.
some bullshit.
I think that sounds like it's some bullshit,
Yes,
and it sounds like they chose wrong.
they did choose wrong.
Those bitches.
And you know
Brandon
what?
said those bitches.
I know. Them bitches. They would have had a fantastic season if they chose Maria. And now it's going to be another boring season of The Bachelorette.
Dang.
Maria was the counselor, right?
It's very upsetting.
Maria was the counselor, right?
No, Maria was the one who was painted to be the villain, but she actually wasn't.
No, Maria, yeah. She was painted.
What was her profession?
What's her profession?
I don't remember.
Boring.
I think she's like
apparently.
a licensed counselor. She was like a therapist.
Is she a therapist or something?
She was Canadian.
She's Canadian.
Yeah.
Brandon's asking
Oh,
these
well, that's
questions.
no good.
Oh, I don't remember what her profession was, but Maria was just so cool and so witty and spoke her mind and didn't care to clap back at all these girls who were so petty and mean to her and tried to paint her to be the villain, but when they were actually the villain. And she was so fun to watch. And they freaking choose Jen, who I couldn't even tell you one thing Jen said this season. Oh, you know what? One thing that she said was that she wanted to get naked in the woods with the Bachelor. That's the only thing I remember her saying.
Hey,
Nice.
that's something.
I guess. I think they also chose her because she's Asian.
Oh, maybe.
Mhm,
You are on
'cause they're-
stream, so be careful.
Well, she is the first Asian American Bachelorette.
Oh, going for them demographics.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
No, even though it's the wrong decision, because it'd be boring.
I'm just saying Maria would have been
Maria would have been.
my pick.
Sounds like it. Sounds like you picked correctly.
Thank you.
Of course.
I just needed people to know that.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah.
Now all of China knows.
Shut up.
That was a Mulan reference.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
Mulan
okay.
reference.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's Chinese, but
That had nothing to do with it. I was just making the Mulan joke.
I'm not racist.
I don't know. You're not painting yourself in a great light.
Thanks, babe.
You did it. I love you.
You are like this all the time.
That's not true.
Yes, you are.
That's not true.
Brandon, back me up.
I think I'd like to soft pass on this one.
What do you say?
He's doing a soft pass.
I think I need to stay out of this.
I'm glad no one watches your stream anyway.
Dang, that was hurtful.
Oh wow.
That
Okay,
was
hang on.
hurtful. I
That
got
was
2
mean.
viewers, and that was hurtful.
Hmm.
One of them is Brandon. I don't know who the other one is. I think it's Bowser. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but hurtful. Oh, it is Bowser. He said, "Make it in the woods." I call that move Bigfoot. It is Bowser. So it's my friends that are
Okay.
supporting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that for you, babe.
Thanks. Hurtful. Could be you. You could at least turn on one of the views.
I was watching The Bachelor.
You could turn your phone on.
I don't know what to tell you, babe.
You're
Sometimes
right.
I do.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
You do.
I don't want you to feel like you're not getting any views, like fake views.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Sometimes fake views are worth it though.
Yeah, you gotta earn it.
Okay, baby. Okay, well, I guess I've painted myself in a horrible light on the stream, and everyone in the world's gonna know now.
Nah, just
Nah,
these,
it's fine.
just these guys.
Oh.
We all know that it wasn't about the ethnicity. It was the fact that personality-wise, boring.
Yeah.
Now I'm paying attention to my phone so I can see. Bowser, it'd be so much easier. Well, I guess you're at work, so it's probably easier. Boyfriends unite. Appreciate that.
Now you got your OG boyfriend and your other boyfriend with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife.
Where do I fit in?
You're my wife.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So who's gonna be your husband?
Well, we're legally married, so
We haven't turned the paper in yet.
I'm the husband in this relationship.
Yes. But
All right, this is getting weird.
Who's gonna be your next husband?
Brandon said this is getting weird.
Okay, I'm gonna go now.
I love you.
I love you. If you have a break sometime soon, can you come take the dogs out with me?
Yeah, I can probably take one here in a second.
Okay. Just like a short break.
Yeah. Well, why don't I think we can do that. Brandon, if you want to go through and take out some cards you think you're willing to cut for like the ones we did talk about, and I'm going to go take the dogs out real quick.
Okay.
I can leave the live stream up or I can mute us. Which would you prefer?
I don't care. I'll probably just flip my mic up. I think I have a better Tato farmer.
No such thing.
Okay, maybe. Runamap excavator. It's in my maybe board. Kind of forgot about him.
Okay, so I'm gonna go take the dogs out real quick.
Okay.
I'll let you talk to the Void about your what's going on, and then I'll refresh this page.
I guess I could get in the chat, and then I could talk to Bowser.
Yeah, I mean Bowser
Is
could
he in the
also
chat?
just text you. Don't you have his contact?
I thought I did, but I don't know if I do or not.
Bruh. I got you. I got you, boys.
I don't think I have it.
Whoa.
So wait, was he texting you or is he in the chat?
No, he was texting. I think he's at work,
Oh,
and it's just
okay.
easier for him to do it this way.
Got it.
But he had some good advice too. But also I would look at cutting. I'd probably cut out the talismans and focus on.
That was what I was gonna ask. Was okay. So whenever you say talismans versus ramp, does that mean, or like rocks versus ramp, is like, do you cut all your rocks and like add in more of the like?
Not necessarily. It's more like I think you have plenty, honestly, especially at 38.
Because like I could add like 3 visits and like, because I could go down to 36 lands and put in like 3 visits and explosive vegetation or something like that.
Correct. And so I would cut the talismans. So the only rocks I would keep is Arcane Signet and Soul Ring, just because they're really good value. Because Arcane Signet is a mana rock that gets you any color in your deck, and then Soul Ring is just 2 colorless mana. Those are the only 2 I would keep. If anything, I would replace Rampant Growth, or I'd replace Rampant Growth with 3 visits. Just because 3 visits I think is better. But I'll let you do that.
So I think the only reason that I like Rampant Growth is because it can do any land, and I have 3 different types. I think 3 visits can only do.
But
can't it only do?
It only gets you
forest?
a forest, but you should have cards that are forest, forest island or forest swamp, and it can get either any of those and bring them in untapped. But yeah, so I'll let you kind of dig through that. Then I'll come back and refresh it. But I gotta go take the doggos out.
Yep, you're fine.
Cool. All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
All right, squad. Oh,
Right.
we back, baby.
Okay.
All right, I'm hitting
Bowser's
refresh.
giving me some good. He's giving me some good stuff. Okay.
Okie dokie. Ooh, changed to black. Love it.
Oh yeah.
You did put Tato Farmer in.
Yeah. So Bowser's making good points. He's giving me some good stuff.
Did he counteract everything I said?
No. No.
Oh.
He's agreeing with most everything.
Oh, thank God. I was really scared. He's like, don't listen to him ever again.
No. He's agreeing with basically everything. He is saying that basically because of Muldrotha, that is the reason that you want for this particular deck that you don't want the ramp cards. You want the artifacts.
Oh, no, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
And so he's suggesting a couple of like Crucible of Worlds, Conduit of Worlds. One of the cards I added in alongside Tato Farmer was Runamap Excavator, which is in the mana category, like dead center of your screen.
Mm.
And he is like another one that can grab stuff out of grave.
Yes. So I know there's other cards that do that. I just didn't know the names of them.
Yeah.
No, those are really good.
So I'm kind of going through and taking out like Kodama's Reach and like some of that kind of stuff. But I took out Everflowing Chalice and Mind Stone for the other ramps, so I would much rather put those back in.
I think Everflowing Chalice is phenomenal in this deck,
especially with Proliferate. Like it makes perfect sense. So I'm fine with that. And I wanted it in here. I just didn't have like a spot for it.
Yeah.
I just kind of assumed that like with green you needed to like run ramp, and so like that makes a lot of like it makes sense though that like with this you're kind of doing something different. So Eternal Witness. Let's see. He's recommending other cards.
Yeah, he's got a much better library of knowledge than I do.
It's gonna make me spend more money. Making me drop them dollars. Okay, let's see what Eternal Witness and...
Honestly, if I could find time to have all three of us on here, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Bowser would teach me so much.
Oh, those are not expensive. Oh, he's doing God's work. Okay. Yep. Okay, so why are these not in alphabetical order? Oh, because I have them sorted by mana cost, that's why. Okay, so Eternal Witness. What is it?
Okay. Did you add Wonder in yet?
No, but I will probably order that too. Okay, when Eternal Witness enters the battlefield, you return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. Okay. Good call, Bowser. Good call.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. Let's go. That is into. That's gonna go into the advantage category. I like the categories a lot. Like that helps me a lot.
Yeah. You and I always organize decks differently, but
yeah,
it's the same outcome.
I'd agree. Well, and I think it helps with kind of making sure that like, and that was kind of the point of the whole video, was basically the guy was saying like, he's like, you don't, like, no two decks should have the same organization. And he's like, honestly, if you had two decks and they were done by different people, they'd still probably have different organization.
Probably.
And so that's kind of what he was saying, was that it's like very much this is up to you and how you want to do it kind of thing. I need to make this up. It's driving me crazy. Okay. So oh, that's clever, Bowser. He said use animate dead instead of reanimate because it's a permanent, so you can bring it back. A little
And
more
these are
expensive,
like,
but that's clever.
and these are like tiny tweaks he's suggesting, because that's one card in your 99, but it'll
Hmm.
synergize. Because even if you don't hit it, it still works better than the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's kind of what I like. So I am gonna add Mind Stone back in to the mana category. And then the other one that I like wanted to have in here was Thought Vessel. Um, that was one that Taylor used. That I really liked the idea of Thought Vessel, especially with how draw heavy this deck is.
So honestly, I don't consider your deck that draw heavy. I consider it more mill heavy.
Okay.
And so I was actually going to recommend cutting Reliquary Tower, because even when we
Interesting.
played, like, you never had that many cards in your hand to like justify it.
Okay.
Because I honestly have one deck that really benefits off of it, and that's my Boros Goad deck, because it draws so much.
Yeah.
The only other deck that I run it is Doctor Who, but that's because
Okay.
it can go infinite on certain things, so I can draw like as many cards as I want. But it's not like because the deck is designed to draw a ton.
Yeah. That
And you'd
is
rather have
fair.
cards in your graveyard anyway, rather than in your hand, right?
Yeah. Yes and no. That's a good point. That's a good point, Bowser. So yes and no is kind of what I was gonna say. But Bowser just said if you have Wonder in your hand of 8 and you want that in the graveyard, you need to be able to discard it to hand size.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Um, okay. So I feel like some of the proliferate stuff can come out.
Some of it
Let's see.
can.
Okay.
I think of the proliferate, I think Canker Bloom should stay, because it doesn't just proliferate; it also gets rid of an artifact or an enchantment, which is good.
Yeah.
I think you could cut Flux Chandler,
Okay.
because you have Exonerable Tide, which is nice. It's better.
Yeah.
And then you have Thrumming Bird and Vexing Bradgold and Radstorm, I think, can all stay. So you have 5, which is
Yeah. Kind of makes it more of a sub theme. I
yeah.
took Agent Frank out. I think his mana cost is just really high for something that I'm not like leaning into.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about him because he's just so expensive, and I think he'd
Yeah.
do better in like a poison deck
Yeah.
than
Yeah. I agree.
Rad. And he is big, but your stuff's already going to be big, so it's not like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I don't think he's worth it. 7 mana is a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's cool, but I agree. Okay. Blade of Selves is really cool.
yeah, I do like Blade of
I
Selves.
would if what you're doing right now, I would actually really like if you could go through the maybe board and go, this is insane. You need to add this, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry if my ASMR chip chewing is annoying.
It's fine.
Archaeomancer. He just talked to you about him.
Yeah. So I haven't read him yet.
When he enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand.
Oh, that's really good.
So he's just recursion. He's like that green one.
Yeah, I feel like that's really good.
Well, he's 4 mana.
Yeah. That's good though. Well, and it's instants and sorcery, so it kind of does the opposite of what the other one does.
Mm-hmm.
So, Biophagus is cool. So he's mana dork, but he's another one that could add +1/+1s to stuff.
Yeah.
Bladebrand is just cool. Bloodchief Ascension was one that like everybody was like, "Oh, you got to add this," and it's 1 mana, and I kind of get it, but I also kind of don't.
So whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, has 3 more quests. Oh yeah, no, that goes in immediately.
So I can proliferate the quest counters so I can get it up really fast, but it shouldn't take that long. But it's just like kind of a little bit of chip damage. Like,
it's a lot of chip
seems...
damage. So whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard, so if they put 4 cards.
Oh God.
That's...
Was I reading that the whole
yes,
time?
yes, you were.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was reading that as...
Nope, you're wrong. Yeah.
Oh, it's for each card.
Yeah, whenever a card.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's... Oh my God.
And there's your life gain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was reading that wrong. I thought it was just like every time it happened, it was like 2 off, 2 up kind of thing.
You're not the
I was like,
first one to do that. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I literally do it all the time. And Bowser's like, no, read it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
No, I was misreading that.
Yeah.
So okay, I moved that over. Yeah, that's in.
I love this card. It doesn't belong here, but I love this card.
It's decent. It's a lot of mana, but it's good.
It's a fun card. That's a fun card to play.
Yeah.
It's just a counter spell.
Yeah. Contagion Clastress isn't quite powerful enough for what I need it to do.
You have other stuff that does it.
Yeah. Corpse Check is kind of the same way, where I just have other stuff that does it better.
I like Culling Ritual. I do. I still think you need... Did you put Nuclear Fallout in?
Yeah. This is another one with Dredge.
Yeah. I don't care for it. Yeah, some of the Dredge stuff can be kind of tricky. Sorry, Bowser just sent me, I think, some of the same stuff you have. Yeah, Bowser said if you cast Maddening Cacophony, to cast again with Sir Conrad out is gross.
Yeah. That's Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, Bowser, with Mind Crank and Sir
Mhm.
Conrad, that it can go like pseudo infinite.
Yep. He's okay. That can be good. There's your evolution stage. That needs to go in. No, never mind. Not evolution stage. I was thinking of something else. Uh,
So this is another semi board wipe,
mm-hmm.
and I like this one.
That's not bad. Hmm.
Lorien Revealed is another cool one.
Yeah.
It's kind of an expensive card, but I picked it up as a common at vintage stock.
Yeah, that was a good pull. So I like Marcus, but I don't know if he really belongs. No, I like Mirelurk.
Mirelurk is another one that I like. She's just not quite perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just only once per turn.
Yeah.
That's another dredge one, which is pretty cool. Ooblet is really cool.
That's not bad.
That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have this card. It's a good one.
So this one, then there's actually two others that are all when I draw a card, they do like they make other people mill. And I have just like that was kind of tempting to go with that direction because there's like the three cards that all do something with that.
That's not great in your deck because your commander, you don't have a reliable draw engine.
That's
Like,
fair.
so like my
I'm relying on
knights,
other cards to draw.
yeah, like my knights, my commander has eminence, so his ability happens whether he's in the command zone or on the field. And
Yeah.
every time a knight attacks, I draw a card and discard a card.
Okay.
So I have
That's fair.
reliable card draw. For this one, it's not. It wouldn't be worth the effort.
Yeah, that's fair.
No. That's not bad, but that's just more like stall.
She does okay, and there's other cards that like having zombies out. So I think that's a direction the deck could have gone,
But
is to lean more heavily into that.
But this one, so the difference between this one and that enchantment, this one says whenever one or more creature cards. So she'd only get a zombie for each mill instance,
Yes.
no matter how many creature cards were milled for that
And
mill.
it's your graveyard. It's only my graveyard.
Yeah.
And so, and she only self mills. She doesn't make somebody else mill.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I was like, she's fine. But I wasn't just completely sold on her.
Yeah.
So Sphinx's tutelage, there's another tutelage, and then that other one are the ones that are all draw. Whenever I draw, they do something.
That one's not bad, just because it has Death Touch.
Yeah. And the Descend is pretty good. So basically, as long as 4 cards have been put there this turn,
Mm-hmm.
then he gets stuff. Project Purity is good. It just doesn't advance the game state. Like it doesn't like feed into the strategy.
No, it is draw power, but
yeah,
I like it, but
I like it. I think it's a really good card. I just don't think it does.
This should go in. This needs to go in.
Swiftfoot.
Yeah, that's hexproof on your commander.
Yeah. So, do you like Swiftfoot or Lightning Greaves better?
I like Lightning Greaves better.
Okay.
No, I like Swiftfoot Boots because Lightning Greaves is Shroud. Oh,
Okay.
Crap. Let me read your commander. I think he targets. Whenever one or more non-land cards put a +1 on each. Yep, target creatures. Yeah, you need hexproof. So.
So Swiftfoot.
Yeah, because Lightning Greaves, the Shroud mechanic, means you can't target him with anything, including his own effects.
Oh, okay.
Nobody else can target him either, but you need to be able to target him. So hexproof lets him target.
Yeah.
So you want, Swiftfoot Boots.
Okay. Yeah, that's why they were in the maybe board. It's because of that exact reasoning.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to really protect him, instead of removal, hexproof.
Cool. It's in. That's the other Taxman card.
He's fun.
I love the Master, and he's really good with a lot of stuff in here. He didn't do things that I wanted him to do.
So honestly, I think I'm gonna make the Master my commander in this precon because you're doing Mothman. I think I'm gonna do the Master and see what I can do.
He's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and there's so many cool things you can do with him that, I think he's a super cool commander.
Yeah.
This is another one that I just kind of wanted to put in as an upstart goblin. Thought Scour.
No, it's not worth it. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, like 100-card deck, there's not really such thing as there is and there isn't. But for 100-card deck to thin your deck, quote unquote, is like if you're gonna thin, you want to take out lands. So you want things that add lands to your hand. That's more deck thinning than it is just drawing a random card.
Yeah. Fair.
Ooh.
So this is one of the ones that I was kind of talking about whenever I said there's cards that you could take this in a zombie direction and they wouldn't mind.
Well, I'm looking at this as
he's not bad on his own.
No, because I'm looking at him more just on his secondary ability. So again, I'm looking at that A creature card.
Yeah.
So if they get multiple creature cards, you get multiple black zombies, and then they lose those cards from their graveyard, so they get exiled.
Yeah.
And that is from their graveyard. Yeah, from their graveyard. It's put when opponent's graveyard from their library. Yeah, I think he has potential to be in. Okay. I don't know what I would take out.
I mean,
but I like him. I like him. That's some graveyard hate.
I'll put him back into I'm gonna put him in the mill category. And graveyard hate's not bad. Having a little bit of it.
That's another one. That's I think having one card. Oh, you might have it. I just need to look. Oh, never mind. Take him out. The Alchemist counters Conrad.
The Alchemist Oh my god. Okay.
Sorry, Bowser caught that. Yeah, you don't want competing things. Has potential, but Um. No, I don't think so. I don't think it counters Conrad. No, if anything, it triggers him. Let me read Conrad real quick. Where is he? Whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield. So yeah, according to the alchemist, they still hit the graveyard and they get exiled. Right? You get double triggers. He goes in. That dude goes in. I have moments.
So they mill. Then whenever a creature card goes into an opponent's graveyard from their library.
So it does. So it's put into an opponent's graveyard from their library. So it hits the graveyard. Then you exile that card.
Okay.
So because it's also
Conrad would,
Conrad's gonna trigger twice, dude. Because if you read him, whenever a creature dies or is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves the graveyard, so it's gonna hit the graveyard, deal 1 damage, and then get exiled and deal another damage. Ooh, we're cooking. We're cooking now. Yeah. Undead Alchemist goes in. And Bowser said he thinks that's correct because if it was a replacement, it would say instead, but it says is put into a graveyard. You exile it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or banish it. Well, I don't know that it would say the mill. I think it would just say banish it, right?
Well, it's not that. So there's cards that say instead. So there's a card that says like Soulless. There's a card called Soulless Jailer that says if a card would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Where Undead Alchemist says it's put into the graveyard, exile it. So it's not saying instead of, it's saying it hit the graveyard, then it's banishing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Undead Alchemist is that's tasty.
I started a magic chat with all 3 of us, that way I could see, that way we could all kind of talk in the same place.
My boyfriends are so smart.
Oh, thanks.
All right, and then the last one was tap, draw a card, discard a card. If you discard a sorcery card, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. That's okay. And Winding Constrictor. This was that the counter thing.
There's 100 of them that do the same thing.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Okay, so now I am at 105.
Okay. So
okay, hang on. So there is Altar for the Brood was at the very top of the maybe board.
Yep, I'm going to it.
This is one that a lot of people are obsessed with.
So whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his. Yeah, that's a better version of your other 1 rock mana, the of Mill, your Ghoul Caller's Bell. I would replace them. I'd flip those. I'd get rid of Ghoul Caller's Bell. But that's your question. That's my follow-up. What's your budget?
So, being completely candid with you, I actually already have most of these cards.
Nice.
The ones that you guys brought up today are the ones that I don't have.
Okay. I'm going to bring up another one. Bowser can challenge it if he wants.
Okay.
God, what's it called? It's the rock that holds all the counters, Bowser. It's Ozolith something.
Oh. Hang on. Yeah, I actually know what this is.
Don't worry about it.
Yes, it's too expensive. Ozolith the Shattered Spire.
Nope, just the Ozolith.
Okay.
Just the Ozolith. Ozolith the Shattered Spire is too expensive? Yeah, the Ozolith is way too expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah. Just thought I'd pitch it. Thought I'd pitch it.
Yep.
Okay, now we're gonna get into Bowser's and my favorite thing. These land cards, my dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all for changing stuff out.
Okay.
So I took out all the ramp stuff, like Bowser said. And if that's not the right move,
Nope. I think you've got a good ramp. I like all
take
the
out those guild
rocks.
gates.
Take out all the guild gates. So Demir Guild Gate.
Okay.
Any land
Cool.
that says gate.
Yeah,
take it,
we
cut
don't
it.
like those.
No, they're
Okay.
they're garbage. Take it out.
I am cool with it.
I'm
Gate.
so the lands I would put in would be the surveil lands. They would actually synergize very well with your deck.
Wait, what? Is that a what do we like? Evolving Wilds?
Yes. Wait, not Evolving Wilds. He said Exotic Orchard.
Yeah, I'm getting that one real quick. Okay. The Triome.
Yeah, you want to get the Triome.
Is that Opalescent Tower, or is there
There's another
called
one.
the Triome?
There's another Triome called so Triomes are lands that do all three land types. So
Okay.
so there's dual lands that do 2 land types, and then there's Triomes that do 3.
Okay.
I don't
Do
know.
we know which one? Oh,
Yeah.
so Opalescent Tower is a tri-land. Opalescent Palace, sorry, or Opulent Palace.
He thinks it's
Is a
Zendatha.
tri-land.
He thinks it's Zendatha. I think it's the Endatha. I don't know, dude.
Endatha.
I'm going to my TCG player app.
Endatha Triome.
No, I want to go to Scryfall. What the hell am I doing? I'm embarrassing. So you are
She's
black.
expensive.
Green. Yeah, so lands are going to be a little expensive.
Yeah. So 2 of the lands that I already have in here are more expensive. So Undergrowth Stadium and Rejuvenating Springs are the 2 expensive ones.
Those were good ones to get. The ones that have the opponents.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are excellent choices. Those are really, really good.
And there is a third one that I just don't have because it's just more expensive. Zagoth Triome, that one's also expensive.
Yeah, but these are the line. So lands are usually the last thing I get, because they are expensive. They just are, and it sucks. So the lands I would get, these aren't as expensive, but I highly recommend you get them.
Oh, Diamond City. That was one that I heard.
Yeah, Diamond City's fun.
I think that one just came out in Fallout, and I think I heard somebody say it was pretty good.
So write down these 3 lands. These are really good. They're cheaper. They're like $5 to $10.
Okay.
But they work really well with your deck. The first one is Hedge Maze. It's a forest island.
Okay.
The other is Undercity Sewers.
Okay.
And Underground Mortuary. Mortuary.
Okay. Got it. And then Bowser said Dream Root Cascade.
Did you get the Triome?
Yes, I added both of those. So Dream Root Cascade and Shipwreck Marsh.
Yeah, those are all really good.
And then Deathcap Glade
is not budget, but those are good. Those are all really good.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay. So
So
I also kind of found when playing that I don't know that I liked the filter lands like Darkwater Catacombs.
they're
Um,
annoying. I'm not a fan
yeah,
of them. I so this is where people are back and forth on them. Not back and forth. A lot of people don't play them. Um,
yeah,
but I don't think they're as bad as people like, uh, or as bad as people say. They're just annoying.
okay.
Oh, do you have Bajuka Bog?
I do not,
Yeah.
but I know what it does.
Yep, you want that. That's a graveyard hate. That's just a good one to have. Um, but yeah, the filter lands, they're good for when you need them. Not when you need them, but like if it's just what you have, great. The ones I don't like are the tainted lands, like this tainted
Yeah,
isle.
the activate only if you have. Yeah,
Yeah,
those.
I loathe those lands because
Yeah.
I've gotten mana screwed by them because I didn't have a swamp, but I had like let me find one. So I had like a rejuvenating springs that has a green and a blue, but it's not a forest or an island. It's just a
Yeah.
so like it was really frustrating with these tainted isles. So I would cut those. I'd cut the tainted lands before I cut the filter lands.
Okay. Um, I am happy to do so because I am fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like that they. I don't know. I didn't really like them that they
Yeah.
did
The
that.
only reason I'm going to keep mine is because I like the art. They're from Fallout. Like that's the only
Yes.
other reason.
Yes.
Like I sometimes I keep cards cuz I'm like I like the art. I know they're not good, but I like it.
Yeah.
And
They are very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Um
Nesting ground, Mariposa military base is great. Um,
I'm not I don't really
Nesting
care.
ground's fine, but Mariposa is really good with this deck.
Mariposa's great. I don't like nesting grounds. I don't think you'll ever use I don't know why you would move a +1/+1 counter for 1 mana when you can just do it for free.
Yeah, the only way, so I can see a couple situations where you want to move it to like the Archmage, the counter spell lady, or like if you have like a way of like,
I would
oh, there's
rather
something
have
really big or something like that.
I would rather you have one of your colors than nesting grounds. I think
Okay.
you'll get more use out of a color than moving a counter. I do agree,
That
Mortuary
is
Mire.
fair.
I do like that. I think that's great. I think Mortuary Mire is fantastic. Um, oh, the Legendary Land. Bowser, help me out. It's in the Legendary Land deck. Gives it fear. Um, frick, what's it called? I'll find it. Something Storehouse. But that's a good one. Chizo Storehouse? Yep, Chizo Death's Storehouse. It's a legendary land. You pay a black and tap it. Target legendary creature gains fear until the end of the turn. And the fear effect is it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
so that's a good way to get your commander through.
Yeah.
If they don't have a black creature or so it's like it's not quite as effective as Rogue's Passage, but it's one more way for you to do that. And
Yeah.
it's a black mana that comes in untapped. So
Yeah, that's good.
like why not?
Um, okay.
I,
No, that's good.
you still have Golgari Guildgate on here. unless my computer has it.
Refresh. I took it out.
Okay, let me refresh. Let me get rid of. So sometimes it updates while I'm on here, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Ooh, you down to 34 lands, my dude.
Yeah. I haven't added anything back in
That's
other
okay.
than Bajuka.
What's your total? Where's your?
It is at
Where's it say?
103. Go up to the top, and you can close out of that little mid window that says choose your preferred layout.
Bloop.
Over on the right. There you go.
And
then up at the top on the left, it'll say in the deck summary.
103. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would add. Well, let's see what.
Bowser, what did you say to take out from Milliken? You said swap something with Milliken.
Where is it? Oh, it's not in this chat.
Evolution Sage is what he said.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Go look at Evolution Stage.
Let's see. Your mana. That's 1. 2.
Yeah, that's good. I left Far Wanderings in there just because it has that additional effect on there.
No, I agree. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would maybe add one more land, but I think you're pretty solid at 34.
Okay.
Because you have a lot of mana rocks. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. You have 7 mana rocks.
And I kind of like Milliken, and that's technically like a mana dork as well.
Yeah, you have mana dorks. I'm just counting mana rocks.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But I think Altar of Dementia with World Shaper and Evolution Sage can be instant speed.
Altar of Dementia?
I don't know.
I am scared of Dementia. That's
But what about the altar though?
I like altars, but dementia scares me. My whole family gets dementia. Oh. Okay, let's see. Altar of Dementia.
Oh, it's an expensive card. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember cards able to sacrifice creature power. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that I could see how that could get insane.
Yep. That could
sacrifice something with 20 counters and they just go crazy.
Yep. That'd be nutty. So the other card that I'm back and forth on because it doesn't. We've already we've kind of focused this deck down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that's Watchful Ragstag. I know you make copies of him.
Yeah.
So whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if that creature has greater power or toughness, put a +1/+1. So he gets a counter. Mm-hmm. And then whenever he evolves, okay, so he does get a counter. Okay, never mind. He can stay.
But it's only when something is bigger. So whenever something, so let's say he's at 2/2, something enters as a 3/3, he gets a +1/+1 counter, and then you get a copy.
You get a 2/2 copy.
So then if something else enters as a 4/4, then both him and the copy go up to 4/4, and they copy again, right?
No.
Is that what I'm thinking about?
What'll happen is, this is where Ragstag gets confusing. So taking your example, you cast Watchful Ragstag. Okay. Cast a creature that has 3/3. And just enters the battlefield as a 3/3. So the original Watchful Ragstag will get a +1/+1 counter and create a copy of it. So that copy is a 2/2. So counters counters and enchantments, anything attached to that creature doesn't copy as well. It's just the creature.
Gotcha. So it doesn't look at its power, it looks at the original.
Correct. So then if you were to summon another 3/3, or say a 4/4 came in, your original Ragstag will become a 4/4 it'll copy, make another 2/2. Your copy will become a 3/3 and also make a copy that'll be a 2/2. So at the end of that, you'll have 2 Ragstags that are 2/2s. You'll have a 3/3 and a 4/4 Ragstag. So it can get nutty real quick.
That is fine, but that's not as good as I thought it was.
Does that go infinite with Ragstag? Does Ragstag work with Master Biomancer? Master Biomancer says another creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to
His
and there's
power.
a mutant. So that means an evolve, but evolve means whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature's power is greater or toughness than this creature, you put yeah, it could go infinite.
Okay,
Yeah.
so walk me through that.
So it'll go infinite for a little bit, I think. So each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to his power. So we'll just say his power is 2, just to keep it easy.
Okay.
And then Watchful Ragstag says whenever, so say, so Watchful Ragstag has to be on the battlefield in the first place, and Master Biomancer. And then say you bring in a 1/1.
Okay.
So Master Biomancer will put a 2/2 counters on it. So now it's a 3/3. So
Okay.
now Watchful Ragstag will evolve, create a copy. Well, the copy is going to enter. So the Biomancer is going to see the copy enter, put 2 counters on it, which will make it a 4/4.
Okay.
The original Ragstag, that's a 3/3, sees a creature that's bigger than it, so it's gonna trigger. It'll become a 4/4, create another copy, and you see how it's gonna like loop like that.
Yeah, but it should stop after like 3 of them, right?
No, because fuck, I got confused. Okay, let's walk this back. So Watchful Ragstag.
Infinites are not my area of specialty, obviously.
I don't think it'll stop because it goes. The Watchful Ragstag is out. Say you summon a 1/1 just to keep it simple, and Biomancer's on the field. It becomes a 3/3. Watchful Ragstag becomes a 3/3, creates a copy. Copy becomes a 4/4. Original Ragstag becomes evolves, creates another copy. And so it will stop. So by the end, you'll have several, but it'll go for a while. Yeah. Yeah, it'll stop. I think it does stop. I think it'll cap at 4. I think whatever the creature is, it'll cap like 1 more above it. Is how it'll work. I hope we run into this because it'll be so fun. This will be so fun.
So, enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1.
So
yeah, so he adds 2 +1/+1 counters.
Yeah.
To anything entering the battlefield.
Yeah, and so all those token copies are 2/2s. They're going to become 4/4s, and then they create another 2/2 copy that also become 4/4s. So long as they're all 4/4 and up, this should be fine.
Well, if every copy does that, if every copy enters and then goes, oh, wait a second, there's something. I don't know that it does then because Watchful Radstag.
So the evolve only happens if the creature's bigger than Watchful Ragstag. So the original Ragstag's going to stop at 4.
Yeah. And the copies should stop right then too because they get added as soon as they enter from Master Biomancer.
Yeah. You could probably Bowser says you could probably stack it in a way to go infinite, but the problem is I don't know the ruling on this, but if something goes infinite like this, I don't think if it doesn't say may, like you have to keep going. So I don't know what happens when you can't stop the infinite.
Oh. Huh. I mean, if it results in like a draw or something, that would be interesting. I feel like okay, he says you can stop it. Because I mean, theoretically, you could just say, okay, I make 1 billion elk tokens and I swing out with a
Yeah.
100,000 for each of you, and then that's game.
But I don't
But
think it's an infinite is the thing. I'm actually gonna.
I don't. I'm not convinced. So, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Yeah.
So the copy is created.
So, uh,
Okay, let's see.
buff biomancer gets bigger, so he gets a 5/8, so now 3+1. Higher than Ragstag, the creature becomes a +5 through biomancer. Ragstag evolves to 1. Ragstag 3 produces a 2/2. 2/2 gets +5 plus that price, now 7/7. It continues until the 1. Ragstag gets to 7/7, and I get 5. Yeah, so he gets 5. Yeah, it does stop, but it can just get nutty real quick.
So there's 5 Radstags at 7/7.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, you can stop it. Or it does stop.
Well, he says, "Is this correct?" So what is the reply to that?
Yeah, then they hit the new limit. Seems like it.
Interesting. So theoretically, if Master Biomancer has a bunch of counters on him already, then
Yeah.
then it would go bigger.
Correct. You would make more. So you could make some. Yeah, that's a really good combo. I like that.
I don't know how the heck you count that. How do you determine that without just like trying to do math?
It's you do it carefully. You just do it. You basically would just do it one at a time.
Yeah.
Just kind of how you did, because we'd have cards. It's easier when cards are on the table and you have dice, and you'd be like, okay, this card is the new copy. It has this on it, and da da da. And it's like, okay, trigger,
Yeah.
trigger, trigger, and you just you have to work slowly.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part sometimes in Commander is like you feel rushed, but sometimes whenever you get to that point in the game state, players know like, okay, let's take a minute and figure this out. So that way, like, because they know, like, it's no one's fault. Like, hey, my deck has this really weird interaction.
Yeah.
But I think you could definitely make a bunch of them. I think it's a great combo for sure. So yeah, I think Watchful Ragstag could stay. I think it should stay. Period.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The other one, Bowser probably knows it from his mill deck, but there's another card like your Infinite. There's another card like your Nexus of Fate that lets you reshuffle your graveyard into your library. That wouldn't be the worst idea, but I also don't know if it'd be the best idea either.
Hang on, I'm trying to think of which one that is. I don't know which one that would be off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's really needed. But wow, Ultimate Dementia went down in price. I'm surprised. Sorry, I got distracted.
You're fine.
What was the glowing one? I wanted to reread the glowing one.
He's good.
Where is he? Did you put him in?
I think I might have.
What?
He should be in counters if I put him in. Yes, he's in.
He is. He is in. Whenever everyone deals combat touch a player, they get 4 rad counters. Okay, I think so because we put in that enchantment. I don't think you need the glowing one.
The Blood
anymore.
Chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you need glowing one anymore. I'm looking for cuts right now.
Yeah, of course.
So now we're back down to 103. Yeah.
Yeah, I like being able to do the rad counters since we cut down on proliferate, but I agree. I don't think that that's
Yeah.
so. What in my opinion, what we have done is we have shifted this deck to be a little bit more. We've dropped a little bit of the proliferate, and we've increased the level of mill so
Yes.
that we are increasing our burn damage and we're increasing ways for our big ass creatures to get in
Um,
with stuff like wonder and with stuff
yeah.
like that kind of thing.
I I don't like contaminated drink.
Oh no, my baby. Hang on, let's see. So that is an advantage. Let's go to contaminated drink. So okay. Um Yeah, I would be fine with it. So the video that I saw somebody use it in, he basically just dumped his leftover mana into it and used that as like a way to get himself up. And he did have like strong the brutish thespian and the glowing one in there, so he was gaining life from rad counters. Um, so I'd be okay with moving it or cutting it.
Yeah, I'm looking for cuts, and I'm just looking for things that are like, yeah, that's nice. Don't really need it.
Yeah,
Um,
I like the idea of a huge draw from a lot of stuff, but like I
for
think we
sure.
have other places for that.
Like Fathom Mage is like pretty good draw.
Yeah.
Guardian Project, Mystic Remora. Tezzeret's Gambit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll keep it.
It's a lot of mana for just 2 draws, but the fact that it has proliferate on it, I feel like it's perfect.
Yeah, it's 3 mana. Like, I like this Conduit of Worlds. That's dope.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That'll be one of the ones that I need to order, but I think that's really clever.
And I love Everflowing Chalice in this deck. I think that's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, and you can start it with 2 and then proliferate it up or whatever. So I like that.
Yeah, I like Life from the Loam. I like Tato Farmer. I like World Shaper.
Yeah, so that was oh, and we added in Conduit of Worlds does basically the same thing as Renamap Excavator. I put him in.
Yeah.
Did I put him in?
Yeah, he's in there. No, he's good.
Okay, I was skipping over him. And so that was Bowser's point, was that he works with Conduit of Worlds or Tato Farmer, that it basically lets you potentially do 2 lands a turn kind of thing. So I like that. I think that's good logic.
Alter the Brood, that's great. Blood Chief Ascension's great. Fractured Sanity, that's good. Oh, cut Ghoul Caller's Bell.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, but you put in Altar of the Brood, does the same thing, and we're cutting cards.
Yeah, but so okay, so here's my argument. Here's my only no, Bowser, we're not cutting lands. Okay, so here's my argument: is that Ghoul Color Spell is tap, everybody mills. Altar of the Brood is get it on the field, and then you have to do another card.
No. When another permanent enters the battle under your control, each opponent. Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I misheard. I was thinking spell, but yeah, permanent. But yeah,
I don't think that Alter the Brood is worse. I just, part of me almost likes having both, just because they're cheap, instant, ready to go mill kind of thing.
Okay, but here's my argument.
Okay.
You have 102 cards in your deck. You gotta cut one of them.
Know.
You gotta cut one of them. Ragstag with Alter the Brood is better than Bell.
That's fair.
Just that's it, man. Like,
all right. I also like the art of Ghoul Colors.
Look,
but he's right.
I was right.
You were right too. Yes, I know. Okay. Don't cut Milliken too. I love him.
Milliken.
Um, that's
Tap.
what Bowser's.
Oh, that's another mana rock. If anything, I'd cut Mind Stone. Well, no, because this is an artifact creature. Yeah, I'd cut Milliken.
Damn.
Yeah, I'd cut
Or
Milliken.
Milliken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Milliken prob's gonna die relatively quick.
Yeah.
Cornucopia.
Put Cornucopia.
Over Everflowing. I don't know
What's
what
Cornucopia?
I don't know what that does. I don't know.
Forgive us, Bowser. We're mere mortals.
I know, right? I feel so bad for Bowser. He's like, I have to talk with idiots all the time.
Cornucopia. Let's see how many pop up
now.
Let's also see Astral Cornucopia. I bet that's what he's talking about. Let's see. Alrighty.
What?
Show me the money. 3 X's? The fuck? Astral Cornucopia enters the battlefield with X charge counters on it. Tap. Choose a color. Add 1 mana of that color for each charge counter on Astral Cornucopia. Well, hot damn, that is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
good. And you can proliferate it. Yeah.
So you put a 1 on there. Choose a color. Add 1 mana of that color for each charge counter on. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's basically why Everflowing Chalice is in there.
Yeah, because we can colors. That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Good point. Okay, that is going in the mana category.
Yeah, and then cut Everflowing.
Yeah, it is pretty cheap. Good point.
So my only other argument. So my only
wait, did we cut Mind Stone?
No, we kept Mind Stone. So here's my other argument for Everflowing Chalice. I want to make my point. I'll make my point. I do like Astral Cornucopia.
Okay.
So you pay. So say you start with it in your opening hand, and you want. So you can only pay. You get to it, and you only put 1 charge counter on it. So you pay 3 mana for basically a commander sphere. Right.
Okay.
Versus the Everflowing Chalice, you pay 2 mana, and then you get 1 colorless. Both of these have the ability to be proliferated, which we have an underlying theme, but it's not the theme, which is.
But there are several cards in here that can do it, even if they're not in the proliferate category.
Okay. But there are. To me, it's also the Everflowing Chalice is also in Fallout art, which does match the Wise Mothman.
That is true. That is true.
That's really my only argument. I think Astral Cornucopia. I don't know. That's my argument. I don't think there is a wrong choice. I do think you should put one of them in. If anything, honestly, I'll go with Bowser on this. I would cut Mind Stone and I'd put in Everflowing Chalice and Astral Cornucopia.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
I think that's the move.
I think
that's the move.
Yeah. No, I'm cool with that.
I'm glad that Bowser let me get to that. We got to that conclusion. Bowser just watched us like fumble around in the dark for a little bit.
Watched us dance around it for like 30 minutes. He's like, oh, you sweet babies, you sweet idiots.
He's like, they'll get there. Maybe not. Oh, they did get there. Okay.
Thanks for tolerating us, Bowser.
Right.
Okay, hang on. Let's see. So what are we at? We're at 100. Okay.
Oh, we did it. We're there.
That's it. That's 100.
That's 100 cards, baby.
It's 100 cards, baby. And honestly, that does leave some like good room for upgrades because like, oh man, you're so right, dude. That's such a good show. Jackie Chan Adventures.
So good.
Oh
so
my
good.
God. Yeah, that is so fucking fun. I love that show. But this does leave like some good room for like for like upgrades or like different places to like if I wanted to keep going with like making it better. Pardon me, making it better is like can still upgrade the lands. I could still swap out like
Yep.
oh get it go get the Altar of Dreams. Go get like there's a couple things that are still like upgradable. So
Yeah.
um
The only other one, so I'm looking through your protection real quick to see if there's any
yeah
so the only thing I might add in slash cut is, let's see, and we both do the same thing.
yeah they're the same card.
So I would recommend putting in a Beast Within,
Okay.
because that destroys a target permanent, so that includes lands. It's, I don't know. I think having one in there. I mean, obviously it's one card. I would
Yeah.
consider that. I don't think it's needed. I just like you. I'm trying to try to answer everything, and
hmm
sometimes being able to remove a problematic land is helpful. It does
Yeah.
give your opponent a 3/3 beast token, but that's kind of like whatever.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. That's White Elephant's gift. It's fine.
yeah, it's white elephant's gift. But those are, again, I think that's kind of a dealer's choice. I think you have enough counter. I think you went the counter spell route, which can be just as fine. I just
Yeah.
like the idea of, yeah, Swan Song. But you already bought Swan Song, didn't you?
I do have Swan Song, yes.
Yeah, I'd keep Swan Song. I would
Yeah.
rather get rid of either Drown in the Lock. I'd probably drop Drown in the Lock. Um,
See, I like the ones that can do two things that are so like John on the Lock is like counter something or destroy something. Like destroy. So like I like that it has both of those and I like that it's low mana cost.
then what? See, I do like that and I get it, but it's also a blue and a black, which can be color problematic. Um,
Dang.
but if not, I'd either get rid of a Thought Collapse or Didn't Say Please. I'd like to just pick one. They both do the same thing. Because Beast Within's a three cost.
Mhm.
If I were to really pick one,
So we're just looking for single target destruction.
that I was just looking through protection if I were to get it out. The other card I might take out is Rune Crab. I do like him, but
Yeah, he's just a one mana.
he's a
I
one
like that
mana,
he's
but he's a
if you
little
get that in your
slow.
opening if you
It,
get that in your opening hand though, like that's just like fantastic.
but he's only really good if you have a bunch of landfall synergy, which we don't have a ton of.
And
Oh, he does say leave the crab. Yeah, we do have a lot of landfall stuff, like playing out of the graveyard.
yeah. Mind Funeral I think is just it's cool. I picked it up for like 10 cents, so it's
It,
not something I'm like super attached to, but it is like a very powerful
I
mill
think
a
you should.
ton of cards.
I think you should cut Mind Funeral because of that. I don't think it really progresses the game that much. Versus Beast Within is one more protection that will keep you in the game. Versus Mind Funeral,
See,
I'd rather you top deck a Beast Within than Mind Funeral.
I'd agree. However, so here's my counter argument to that. Mind Funeral plus Blood Chief Ascension or plus Sir Conrad, game's over for somebody.
Yeah, but you still have 1,000 other mill synergies that happen at instant speed. Mind Funeral's one, and it only targets one opponent.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
It's not like we're cutting the entire mill engine. We're just,
Oh yeah, no, I know. It's like one of the really big bang. Beast within all their lands and
yeah. And then
Yeah.
eternal witness with
Um,
altar to keep doing it. Yeah. I mean, honestly, no, that's draw power. Never mind. Yeah, I think Mind Funeral for sure.
okay.
If I'm gonna pick one.
And I do really like instance in this deck.
Bro, you got 8 islands in here. God damn.
Yeah, so here, scroll to the very bottom. Um,
Mm.
and um, there's like a little chart that shows like pips and like production versus how many procs you have. So it's that pie chart. It's
Oh,
right
it's the
there.
pie chart. Sorry.
No, you're good. So it'll show you like black producers is like 25, and then black.
Yeah,
Um,
I see. Very nice. Yeah, it's pretty even. Pretty even spread.
so it's like I have a lot more black production than I do black users, and islands. Like I have 28 blue producers, but I have 41 blue users.
Yeah. No, I think
So,
you're. I think we have room. Like I said, if you were to upgrade next, I think you leave your creatures alone. I would upgrade your land base next. So I think those surveil lands, the fetch lands, the um, get more. I think you can get the other uh, bond lands, the ones where you have opponents. That's what I would focus your next upgrade on. Replace those
yeah.
filter lands with more, uh, the more expensive lands.
Hmm.
That's what I would focus on next. I think you have a really strong. I think you have a very strong deck. I think we have a great deck here, and when you upgrade your land base, it's going to take it to the next level. Because I had like my Sauron deck was fun and it was mean, but it was slow. Oops, sorry.
Hmm.
But I think I spent about $80 on lands, and it was
Yeah.
like I think Bowser saw it. Like I was churning. That deck took off very quickly. Like it just got my stuff out, and I was like in the game very fast, just because I upgraded my lands. I didn't touch my creatures at all, and so fast land can make a huge difference.
Yeah, that is cool. It's
So
true.
that's what I
It's
would
true.
focus on next. I think you have a great. I think we have a great deck out of the gate here. I'm excited to see it in action. I hope I'm not in the action, but I'm excited to see it in action.
Hope it's not me, but yeah.
Yeah. If you play this, I'm playing Sauron. He likes things in the graveyard.
Bowser said terrified and excited.
Correct response.
That's funny. Yeah. And that's okay. Cool. This this feels good, and this feels like how I wanted it. Um, Generally, I'm curious to see how I like the artifacts the versus the ramp spells. Just because I'm more used to the ramp spells, and so I'm kind of curious how that like feels while playing. But no, I'm excited. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. It'll be fun to
I've
try out.
I have decks that do both, and one leans more towards the other. Um, I will say this was super fun. I
Yeah, this is
loved
cool.
the conversations and the just the ideas going over things. This was a lot of fun. I'd love to do this again, and I'd love to do it if we can. I'd love to get Bowser in too,
Yeah, for sure. Um,
because I've got
I would.
several decks that I want to upgrade, and I'd love to go through
Yeah,
something like this with it.
yeah. Well, and honestly, like I would love to be a part of that too, even though I don't like bring a ton of experience to that. I'd be interested in looking at stuff just to see from the perspective of like, hey, explain to me why this is here, like, or tell me why you like this card with this card, like that kind of stuff, just
Yeah,
to kind of get a further in-depth guide kind of thing.
Well, that's
So
why exactly, because I don't know if you ever watched the show House, but
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
but like the main character's like uh you know, he bounces ideas off of his team, like, and that's what
mhm,
it helps just talking with someone through it, because I'm like, even you and I just talking and coming to that conclusion of like, oh, let's just cut Mind Stone and put in Everflowing Chalice, like
yeah,
we got there together, uh, with a little nudge from Bowser, but yeah, I
yeah,
think doing that with some decks that I have coming up would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of
yeah.
fun. This was great.
I think that would be really cool. And I am kind of planning on getting one of the um,
Thunder Junction.
Thunder Junction decks. Yeah, thank you. Um, and so I don't know. Well, I'm not sure which one yet. But I kind of do want to build. Um, there's a card in there that's called Tiny Bones, and Tiny Bones is hilarious and cute,
Mm.
and so I kind of want. I've been pretty tempted to like see which deck he comes in and like maybe build around him. But he is mono black, and so I don't know if he's commander or if he's just in the 99 or what.
If
And
he's
so
mono black, he's
that's
probably in the 99, if that.
yeah.
Um, but you can
Oh, he
still.
won't be a commander, but that's kind of sorry. I was talking more like I don't know if I would build him as a commander or
Oh,
if I would
gotcha.
just kind of build the deck and leave him in the 99.
Nice.
But if he is a commander, then like I could see that deck being maybe
Yeah.
not mill, but something
If he's
similar-ish.
if it's a
So
legendary creature, it can be a commander.
yeah, oh yeah, he is.
Then that's a
He's
commander.
really cool.
Then you could definitely do it.
You should look him up real quick so you can see him.
All right, let's
Show
see.
him on stream.
What's he called?
He's a cute little guy. He's called Tiny Bones, the pickpocket.
Legendary
And he has
creatures,
some really cool
skeleton
art.
rogue. Whenever Tiny Bones the Pickpocket deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and mana of any type. Oh, that's fun.
He's cute.
That's super fun. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, he's cute and he has like a cool wanted poster as his like alternate art. So anyway, I thought he was cool. And he's got death touch, so it's like they may not want to block him and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I could see some stuff being fun with him.
Sure enough.
But he's like running on a little piano. Look at him. Look how cute he is.
Bowser says you should play his Turgid deck. It's kind of like Tiny Bones,
Oh yikes!
but worse. Not worse. Like it's just a really mean card. It's a really mean deck.
I have heard horrible things about Turgid. I left right before you played your Turgid deck. At that Thursday night.
Yeah, it wasn't as mean as it probably could have been that game, but it's still a mean deck. It's not my favorite to play against. Well, this is
Just awful.
This was so fun, guys. I'm glad we did
Cool.
this. But I'll have to see what deck I'm gonna do this next with.
Probably maybe Assassins. When do the Assassins come out?
July, so it'll go.
Oh,
Here, I think it's MTG timeline 2024. Yeah, so it goes. Outlaws Thunder Junction comes out in April. Wow, I didn't know that.
yep. It's next month.
Yeah, it sure is. I think I'm missing that one. Accept all cookies. Yeah. So, and then it goes Modern Horizons 3, which will probably be May or June, which is going to be nuts. And then I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get any of the Thunder Junction because we got to pay off my our honeymoon, which is
Yeah.
But
That
Modern
guy
Horizons,
looks really cool. There's like a devil that's like very
yeah,
themed.
yeah, Modern Horizons 3. I don't know who that is.
Oh, there was one from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that looks really cool, but I don't know if he's like an alternate commander or what. They haven't
Yeah.
like really. They've just shown him like in the background of some stuff.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it'll be fun. The Wild West and like the
Yeah.
villains of Magic will be fun.
Commit
If
crimes.
Yeah, if there's a commander, I may pre-order one of the pre-cons. We'll see, but I'm really focused on the Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
which is July. But I mean, I have all the Fallout pre-cons that we can do this with,
Yeah.
which I've already kind of done dog meat. I still need to
Mhm.
upgrade some stuff. I still need to order some cards, but so I have the other three that I can do. I also have the Dahada deck, that legendary tribal one, which would be kind of fun
Oh
to
yeah.
do. And I think that's it. I think that's all the ones I have in the queue right now. But yeah, that was super fun. I think Bowser wants to do Dahada.
Nice.
I could do Dahada. I could do that. Yeah, Dahada will be fun because his Dahada deck's really good. I like his Dahada deck.
Nice. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
let's do that next. So I think I'm actually gonna go try and beat this giant flying helicopter of doom in Armored Core.
Cool.
But
I think that I am gonna hop off. I'm gonna order a couple cards and then probably gonna call it a night.
sounds good, my dude. Thanks for doing this with me. This was fun.
Yeah, of course. No, this is super fun. Bowser, thank you for your expertise. It is, of course, very much welcome and appreciated.
Yeah, and
Per-
and I think I think that's all we got for everybody. But I appreciate Bowser, your insight and hopping on the chat. Obviously, I know you're busy with other things. Yeah, the group chat name is perfect. I didn't know it could be perfect, but it is.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm gonna go order a couple cards.
get it,
Yeah.
dude. All right.
Alrighty. Well, have a
Good.
day.
Yeah. Wish me luck against this giant robot of doom.
Good luck. Have fun.
Always.
Be strong.
Love you, bro.
Do what you got to do.
Godspeed.
Night.
I'm gonna kill this stream and start a new one.
Okay. Night.
Good night, bros.
Bye.